Hello, hello, my cozy folks. Happy weekend to y'all. What is up? One second here. Here's Pyre. What's up, more, better? I am Winery, Miskatonic Blue, Island Drain, and everybody else. Welcome back to Pyre. This has been a very delightful experience so far. Elise. I'll try to remember that. You might have to remind me a few times, but I'll do my best. So, Pyre. A game by Supergiant Games. The folks behind Hades and Hades 2 and Bastion and Transistor, all very well-known games. They also made this, which isn't as well-known for some reasons. Mainly, I'm really not sure who this game is for. It's such a bizarre mishmash of genres and game elements that it's really hard to figure out who the target audience might have been here. Overcooked gem? Maybe. Certainly there's a lot of flame involved. Oh, this is a cool little game. Some really delightful art, writing, and music, and some really interesting gameplay that goes along with it. I wouldn't say that I love it, but it's definitely enjoyable in its own way. We're going to be jumping back into our save that we started last weekend, which I'll try to keep playing this about once a week until we finish it. I do intend to go through the whole game here, because I think this game is really cool. And I don't think it's too long to finish the whole thing. We'll see about that. I don't even remember who we're commencing a right against. Here, let's have a look in the Black Wagon. Huh. We just had met Volfred. In fact, we might have had this conversation at the end of last session, and then save didn't save. But we'll read these again, because it's a good reminder of where we were and what's going on here. Yeah, we had this conversation already, but I'll do it again, because he's a cool character after all. As you approach Volfred Sandalwood, you feel very much aware that you reside within his black wagon, rather than he in yours. He studies you in silence for a time, then... Tariq, if you have a moment... Aye, Volfred, sir, what is it? This reader, you deem him worthy, by your estimation? The lone minstrel tilts his hat in your direction. If you wish my estimation, Volfred, sir, then I do. Of course, it is not entirely for me to say, but I have seen this reader integrating with the others well. I believe that his achievements are self-evident in having reached Black Basin. Your instructions were deliberately difficult to follow, yet he and the others followed them. Indeed, your words make sense as ever, Tariq. And what does little Tizo think of him, I wonder? Tizo approves. There you have it, sir. I see. He continues to examine you. High praise isn't oft spoken by those two, my boy. Nonetheless, I shall be watching you. Now, pardon us. Tariq and I have matters to discuss. They leave without another word, though you think you notice the lone minstrel look your way over his shoulder. Clyback, thanks for 13 months of support. The demon. Is this where we were? Yeah. Emperor Myrrh. Scarcely could I recognize him when at last I found him, a half-starved animal, horns sprouted from his head, a bestial mirror of his blackened reputation. And I, a man who conquered countries, feared my emperor then in such a way as I had never known. My charge had been to slay this man, but when I discovered him, he was already fighting for his life. The little imp, Haub, proved of little help against the Sisters of the Arch, whose entire lives were culminating in this instant. I was unable to watch. My heart ached with such pity for the man, and for the love I felt for him when I had served him, that I sprang to his defense. Following along with the tales of the former Emperor Solium Mur, this is our duty as reader. We alone can interpret the words of the rites and communicate them to our sacred football team. Speaking of football, to remind us all of the basic gameplay here, we're going to summon Sandra from the Beyonder Crystal, have a chat with her, and challenge her to a practice match so I can talk about how football works. There you are again, my lovely reader. How may I be of service? Let's play. Your fellow exiles against Sandra's Beyonders in a no-strings competition to test strategies. Namely, I want to see how fast Jodariel is with her new trinket. See you in that blasted book in just a moment. So, in conducting the rites, we are essentially playing a game of sport against one another. The goal is to seize the sacred orb, which starts in the middle of the holy field, and get it before the other team does, and then stick it in their pyre, their sacred goal. You score points by depleting the pyre's health, and then whoever's pyre is extinguished first is the team that loses. So score enough goals, and you are win. Bit weird here. Each one player controls a team of 3 mystical sports players at the same time, but only one of them can move at one time, so it's a bit odd. We'll be able to swap the control at any moment. Yeah. Is that the usual 3 she's up against? Remember. Definitely wanted to test Jody here. Yeah, she's got a big bonus to her quickness here. Quickness 15 is more than Headwind, apparently. I would like to see that. Definitely like to see that. Duke of Lameness with 18 months. 18 is a semi-perfect and composite number. Is it now? Sir Gilman's fast. I'll try Sir Gilman a little bit here. I'll need a talisman for the moment. And Ruki is ever reliable. He's very fast. Got a bit of a small aura, though. So, each character in the sport team has an aura around them. You can see that by the glow on their feet here. Your aura is suppressed when you're holding the orb. Jody is fast, dang. And anybody who touches your aura is banished back to their pyre. So, actually, with the extra speed, Jody can really banish the other team really quickly here. It's quite nice. Behold the orb. So you can kind of do this by controlling mainly one character if you want to, but it is intended that you swap between your characters. So there we had Ruki grab the orb, jump over to the pyre while they were all banished. And then went in for a goal. Let's just have Jodariel kind of do it all on her own. She seems like she can with the extra speed. Yeah, she's strong now. However, once somebody, if you score a goal by if you score a goal by jumping into the pyre directly, then your character is banished until another goal is scored. So we just had Jody do that. Now she is unavailable until somebody else scores a goal, either us or the enemy team here. We can just jump, slither our way in there. Why do enemies have no aura by default? I'm not sure what you mean, because they definitely have an aura. Each of them. There are actions that they can take, such as grabbing the ball, that will remove that aura. Oops. Myself vanished there. And there too. Foolishness. Oh, Lord. Vanish nerds. Alright, practice over. The matches in this game are definitely odd. Yeah, it's a very bizarre gameplay experience. I don't mind it, but I'm definitely not in love with it. Time seems to have stood still while he experienced that vision. Indeed. Gritty Goomba, thanks for the Prime sub and the 7 months. We already talked to Ron. Oh, hey, you guys. You know, I guess I didn't get the word out about this new franchise that we opened just here now, so give you a great deal. Just tell your friends, okay? Oh, and hey there, Mr. Sandalwood. Good day to you as well, Ron. Or Stardust. Once per right. Don't lose your Pyre. That's kind of not bad. It's definitely not bad. Definitely buy the Stardust. We're leaving, Dad. Just look at how much we got this time. Commence the rite. You and your fellow exiles arrive at the secret site called the Glade of Lu, and now look to the stars in the sky to signal the beginning of the next rite. The woods about you bring a sense of tranquility you have not felt in some time. But then you notice one of the trees move. It shuffles towards you and regards you with an exaggerated bow. Well, goodness. By the roots of Lu Sclorian, it would appear the rumors are correct. The Nightwings have returned. Oh, but where are my manners, One moment. Much better. H. Manly Tinderstaff at your service. Perhaps you've heard of me? A sycophant who seems certain he will land a position of high standing once he is free. My fellows and myself, you perhaps know us as the Chastity. We soon shall stand against you in the rites. For now I am just whiling away the time making small talk. Now then, as I've introduced myself, your turns. To whom am I speaking? Then in your mind's eye you see Volfrid and hear his voice. Manly Tinderstaff is not to be trusted. Reveal neither yourselves to him nor me. Well? Beneath her mask, Jodariel stares back at him in silence. You suspect Volfrid's message may have reached every member of your group. Why now, how very rude indeed. Well, fine. Ignore me, but you do so at your peril. Anyhow, once this evening's rite commences any moment now, then I'm afraid ignoring me won't be an option anymore. Oh, and now I do believe the sky is beginning to show. We'll have to chat again some other time. Now, come along, come along. Manly bows again and wanders off into a clearing as the stars begin to burn. Certain item lets you repick masteries, huh?
Once again, the stars align themselves before you, reader. And here now at the Glade of Liu, I have to say, you've come so very far. But there are those, such as your adversaries called the Chastity, who have toiled for this too. They know that with their freedom comes great opportunity. It could be yours instead. Please show the chastity that the Nightwings are superior.
Sure thing. I wonder, O honored Nightwings, how well you know these woods. Why, these woods would strangle you, and I'm afraid I could do little to stop them, even if I tried. You might do better to beware of them. When Jodariel continues to ignore him, he gets upset. Why, you insolent! Then fine. Let us begin the dance indeed. He shoves his mask on in a huff. And allow me to thank you in advance for helping me return unto my proper station in the Commonwealth.
Now let us get started.
Jody.
Jodariel.
Rookie. Headwind, though. Right, well, bearing the orb, Headwind and his allies move with and pass the orb more quickly. Yeah, I want that. Choose Headwind here.
Headwind.
Maybe Jody moves even faster with the orb? Let's let Rookie sit this one out. We'll take Sir Gilman. Give him some more presence.
Sir Gilman. It is done.
Glory is within our grasp. Would that this knight had hands with which to grasp it. Are you quite ready, finally, O Nightwings? May all those masks of yours ensure no harm should come to any of your lovely countenances. Now come along, let us give the stars a show. Yeah, like a strange indie movie, indeed. Definitely a strange game. What are you doing? May I present to you Humboldt Manley Jr. Why, he is every bit my equal and is poised to guarantee that Tinderstoff line shall have a bright, bright future. He goes on and on about his sapling for a while. Had more than enough of him. Don't have to tell me twice, let's go. Now, isn't he just the most precious thing you've ever seen, The sapling is nothing but an extension of Manley. If he is banished, so shall the sapling be.
Manley and his offspring hold no small degree of influence within the Commonwealth, reader. There are many who would welcome his return, though none so much as he himself. Already does your adversary's flame begin to flicker.
Oh, what's this? It seems the woods themselves are closing in upon our little soiree. Do be careful now. Those grasping roots and vines, they may not hold you in such high esteem as I.
Your adversary Manley is comfortable in this suffocating glade.
Oh wow,
Yet
he's got more
longs
aura than
now
she does.
For the comfort of his Commonwealth estate. Perhaps such wealth ought to be reserved instead for you.
They can catch it, huh? Alright, into the Pyre. Oh dear, the woods are closing in, and uncomfortably close at that. Whatever shall we do? Perhaps if you just stand aside a while, we could put an end to this much the sooner.
Poor Jodariel.
Boing. He's fast. Say, have any of you noticed how it's feeling rather crowded out here? Almost as if the 100 Minds himself resents you being here. Yes, I rather think that's it. Third, Luce Glorian. Said to have fathomed every thought, and his wisdom flows through the river of his name. So cease with all your scurrying about with that damned orb and let me handle this. Is there PvP in this? I believe there is a versus mode. The game you're happy to watch someone else, otherwise you'd never see it. The only reason I'm playing this game is that I was originally watching somebody else play it, and they stopped playing it, so... Congrats. I agree. But then the only way I could find out how it ended was by playing it myself, so here we are. Oh, he's got like some kind of reflectability here. What's going on? Wow, he's fast.
There. Empire shan't survive much more of that.
All right, you Nightwings, I've had it up to here with you. Or perhaps I've simply had it up to here with all these encroaching plants, these miserable things. Either way, I don't appreciate how you're ignoring me. All right, Headwind, it's all you.
Hapless worm.
It's not all you. It's all them. What determines the points for a goal? The character that does it. Each character has a separate stat that determines their points when they score, and we can boost that value as well. Yeah, you can also throw it in for less points depending on the distance of the throw.
Alas for Dodariel.
Interesting how that works.
Banished, all of them. And it is
In he goes.
done. The Nightwings
So it's basically a
prevail.
sports game. Yes.
Their hapless
Yes, it is a
adversaries
sports
stood
game
no
draped
chance.
in RPG mechanics and
The
fantasy
ceremony
mysticism,
is complete.
which means that most RPG players wouldn't want to play it, and most sports players also wouldn't want to play it. I'm not sure who this game is for, but it's cool. Good. That imbecile of a sap. So much talk and hot air. We did it. One step closer, everyone. Well, my. Oh, worry not, oh Nightwings. I'm not angry with you, honestly. But I am very, very, very disappointed. I thought perhaps that we had something going here between us. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, and all. Instead, however, you decide to spit in my face. Fine. We'll have to see where all your rudeness gets you. Now, ta-da.
Always is there greater knowledge to be gained.
This Katonic Blue likes it. Yeah, Mazanaka says, I don't know why so few people seem to like this game. Of all Supergiant's games, it seems the best in every way. It's definitely got some really cool traits to it, and it does excel in some particular aspects. I really like the art backgrounds in this game, and the music is top tier as well. But I think why so few people like this game is because we've got a Venn diagram of all the things going on in like all the different core genre categories this game touches on, and the people that like each of these don't overlap with each other. So we have sports, we have visual novel, we have like mysticism, fantasy setting type stuff, and I think that the people who are attracted to one of these things are usually not particularly interested in the others. So there are some rare jack of all interests people who really like all of the stuff going on in this game, but I have to imagine that most people find that 2 or 3 of the main mechanics / tags are really interesting, but then the others are a slog. So those who love visual novels are frustrated that you have to keep playing these sports matches, especially if they think they have to win the sports matches. The people who want to play the sports matches are annoyed that you have to slog through all this dialogue between each sports match. It doesn't quite hit anybody's right mixture of anything. It's a mix of things that shouldn't work together. Somehow it does, in its own way. But yeah, this game is freaking weird. Oh, Gilman leveled up. Good for Gilman. Instantly return. So we get better at slashing. I can stun everyone for 3 seconds by saluting. That's very funny. Ooh, a sea's chance is nice. Let's go Valiant Return.
The might of the sea sojourner.
I haven't felt motivated to use Pamita.
Until the next rite.
That was well done, my boy. I am beginning to see why your companions vouched for you. Don't let it go to your head, of course. And no, you don't need to constantly bounce between characters to succeed, Miskatonic Blue. I think 2 relatively easy strategies to latch onto are banish all the enemies by attacking them somehow. Use your aura, cast it, get a really big one somehow. And then just walk the ball in. Or get good at dashing and jumping. You can jump over enemies' auras and other obstacles to get into the Pyre. And with a really quick character, that's pretty easy to do. Have I ever done VO in games? Well, you're watching me do it live now for this game. Oh yeah, so touching on the reasons people bounce off this game, lack of full voicing for the characters, which Supergiant, I have to imagine they learned a lesson here, and that's part of why we got Hades fully voiced in the way that we did. But I have to imagine it's a bit of a deterrent for those who would otherwise really enjoy the story of this game, is that there isn't a voice put to the characters other than the little audio snippets that kind of give you a tone, but not actual words. But yeah, where Hades really excels, though, is the gameplay. Hades is fun to play. With a capital F-U. And an N, too. Also capital. An adequate performance back there. Adequate? Yes, adequate. For the next part of our plan. Go, have your reader there consult the stars. See where they take you next. I'll give you a hint. It's north. Going to be high up. Did this knight hear you say, high up? And it's going to be cold. We'll see. Come, my friend, let's have a look outside. That plan Wolfred mentioned. I just want you to know, I don't know what he means. We're here because we're going to be free again. We won't be living out our days as exiles. That's the only plan as far as I'm concerned. Oh, definitely Mazanaka. I big agree that Hades kind of starts to fall apart at higher heat. The difficulty system that they originally conceived of in Bastion and ended up evolving through their other games, where the player chooses their own penalties. It was never really meant to be played with all of the penalties enabled at the same time. It does indeed fall apart once you do that. Anyway, I'll leave you to it. No matter what, we're getting closer, thanks to you. Seek now your destination. Solium, the Golden Star. It's named after Solium Myrrh. That sure looks important. You know, one more right would make our 8th right. That's a sports number. 8. 8 is a sports number. So now you see it for yourself. You are summoned to the north, where looms Mount Elodiel. And at the very top, the fall of Solium. You confirm the stars indicated this precisely. Wolfred, sir, how'd you know? Wolfred smiles back, but you sense his thoughts as though he's directing them at you.
I, too, can read, my boy. Forbidden though the words may be.
He turns back to Hedwyn. Your reader's skills, while rare, are not unique. But as I said, I'll let him do the job. I see that you have something special going here, which benefits the plan. What plan? I thought this was about our freedom. Oh, fear not, my boy. It is indeed. Plenty of time to tell you about it on the way. For now, however, you look like you can use some rest. And for that matter, so can I. If you'll excuse me. You sense your companions are exhausted from their recent travels. Given the road ahead, you agree it would be best to take the night to recover as much as possible. I'm tickled, Phaley, that you specify 64 heat speed run, as if going as fast as possible wasn't necessary to survive on that heat level. How would you do a non-speed run 64 heat? Or is it truly like somehow faster than that? Maybe. What does that even look like? Anyway, continue the journey. At dawn, Volfred is already up. He reveals to you a pathway through the woods into the cold lands to the north, beyond which lies your next destination. It's to be the one path through the woods. Sclorian Shore. Yeah, like this. Hades doesn't have visuals like this. This is cool. You get to clear the woods at last and arrive in the lands grown cold in the shadow of Mount Elodiel. You will have to make it all the way to the top. In a moment of respite, Volfred calls everyone together to discuss matters pertaining to the rites and the plan to which he alludes. You banded together with a common faith that freedom from the downside is not impossible. Am I correct? But let me ask you something. What does freedom even mean to you? He looks in your direction as he asks, defying you to answer. You cannot sense his own thoughts on the subject and know only the truth of how you feel. What does freedom mean to me? Freedom means being able to make decisions on your own terms. Freedom means having a clear conscience and a carefree heart. Freedom means answering to no one's will other than your own. Freedom means being able to go where the heart yearns, without restriction, without fear. Freedom means not having one's strongest feelings and emotions repressed or rebuffed. Freedom means living life without concern for others' judgment or approval. Freedom is another empty goal to chase to give one's life a false sense of meaning. Freedom means not being forced into responding to such questions. I like that one. I like living without fear. You tell Volfred that freedom means living without fear and not being subject to persecution or retaliation for one's thoughts and choices or identity. He considers your remarks for a short while. Good answer, my boy. I happen to agree. Fear takes hold in freedom's wake. But fear is a natural impulse, is it not? A common feeling we all share from time to time. A deeply rooted, wink, impulse there to aid our judgment and to spur us on to acts of courage. If not for fear, I doubt we could accomplish very much in life. And just now, we stand upon the brink of accomplishing something vital. Hapfee with the Prime sub. Thanks for 32 months. He turns his attention to the whole group. Now, let me tell you all what freedom means to me. Freedom means to live without fear. This guy gave the right answer. To be able to indulge one's curiosities and passions, at least the ones that cause no harm to others, without the constant threat of judgment and reprisal. Freedom means not being made a criminal for what you know, or whom you love, or what you choose to think or not think. He looks out towards the distant mountains.
Reluce travestarum.
Within the next few days, your time in exile could come to an end. You could see the Commonwealth once more,
Cersam
and you would be
subratus.
exalted there, given the highest honor, the opposite of how you got here. But you would not be truly free, I think. At least, you would become complicit to an ancient system that would have deigned to cast down others such as you. It is a system whose well-intentioned founding principles have long been lost, and the 8 scribes, if they are out there still, have made quite clear that they shall not intervene firsthand.
Derandas lad.
This is where you come in. He turns to you and everyone again, looking at each of you.
Ramsetam
Long have I wished to gather such a group, that together you might see that seeking freedom only or for yourselves is too modest a goal. You now share a higher calling.
Sepranum
The plan, then, is this. We free each other from the downside through the rights. Then we meet up on the other side. We organize. Each new moon at dusk, we join together at the Spiral Sanctum. We need as many of us there as possible. My agents on the other side will explain the rest.
Reberam dave.
You're planning a revolt.
Sirim dare.
Just so. I am asking a lot. You do have other options. Deceit, however, is not one of them. The reader and myself, you know by now, we can see through it.
Presevare gare.
But you need not be a part of this, nor is it in my interest to coerce you. You may go to your own way if you wish. Live out your remaining days here, like so many others.
Temptache baromet.
So, if anyone among you prefers that, if you cannot see yourself continuing to strive together in the Commonwealth, as you are doing here, then speak now. Wolfred pauses for a time, examining each member of the group. No one stirs.
Iranet.
Very good. Some of you consider yourselves friends, some others not. But all of you are bound together through the rights, and are integral to our plan. Remember that.
Quare veli
You seek true freedom. You will not find it waiting for you in the Commonwealth. But together, you can bring it about, both for yourselves and for everyone. That is my promise. And he lets out a long breath.
Fare Taurus.
That's it. I ask you all to think on this, and let's reconvene along our journey to the summit. Wolfred turns towards the mountains, leaving you to consider what he has said, and plots the wagon's northward path. Yeah, I really like the writing in this game. I think it's just spectacular.
Pensarus de menturis.
Beyond lies Mount Alodiel. I suggest we make camp here at the base of the mountain, for we shall need our spirits and our strength to make the ascent. Discuss the plan, but the Beyonder Crystal seeks Hedwyn. Hedwyn, you have a special challenge. But first, let's talk to Wolfred.
Urum catatamarias.
There you are, my boy. There was something I wanted to discuss with you in private. Wolfred stares at you intently, as if reaching out, and then...
Chantage, amitas.
You do know what it means to be a reader. Those such as we are not limited to reading mere pages from a book. Though, your ability in this, I sense, is nascent still. Mere flashes, uncontrollable. I see as well now they haven't told you yet. Your friends. And that explains a lot. They haven't told you that readers such as you cannot go free. I had wondered why you would insist on pressing onward with this group in light of this. The answer then was plain. You simply did not know, or fully realize. They did not deceive you. There is no reason they would know themselves other than Tariq, who shall not influence your thinking in such matters. Rather, I had expected, when at first we met, that you already knew the truth of this, from having read the passage in the Book of Rites, which states it plain. Only those who conduct the rites firsthand shall walk the path toward enlightenment and become eligible to regain their freedom. You do not play sports. You do not go free. Wolfwood breaks free from you and looks at you again. Then he speaks to you as normal.
Narum care
It is plain that you are not in adequate condition to conduct the rites, you skinny, you tiny little island boy. And this group values you as a reader. I wish only to ensure you understand what you are getting into here. Despite whatever hopes and dreams and promises might have been shared. New headcanon, by the way. Ryunosk is the reader. I do not think the rites can help you to return, if that is what you had in mind. So, once again, I invite you to depart, and I will see to it that you are compensated. Do not misunderstand. If it is your wish to remain, then you are welcome. But this journey we are on, it has no guarantees, not for you, nor any one of us. Do you understand? Perhaps there is a way. I've learned in life to keep your expectations low and tempered. Yeah, I'm cool. That's all right. I have to keep it. I have to play for everybody, right? Like if I go free, they can't conduct any more rites because they need a reader. So it just makes sense. I'm chill, man. This warning is of little consequence to you. You've always known those keen to warn against one course of action or another. None of it swayed you, and as ever, you shall forge your path.
Iridet.
Very well. A lack of concern is fine with me, although I do not share your outlook, as long as yours is not a lack of understanding.
Merensenasem.
Know that we have much at stake here in this, anyway. Much more than a shot at going back into that Commonwealth, which cast us down here to begin with. It sounds like you intend to stick around. Then we'll have lots more time to chat as we ascend the sacred mountain in the coming days. Until then... Toodaloo, he says. Reliving the past is what Sandra's up to. No new pages, huh? What's up, Sandra? How very kind of you to visit me again like this, O lovely reader. For I was just standing about in the blackness of this void, thinking it would be most pleasant if something were to happen. It was a long period of time that this incarceration of mine failed utterly to do anything but bring me peace of mind. Not much of a punishment. I invite you to imagine an upbringing among the Sisters of the Arch, living on the outskirts of the civilization, your days full of training which could kill you or cripple you for life. How do you suppose I lost my sight? Through glorious battle with the scribes? Or in a careless sparring session with my master? Ah, but I've not forgotten enough just yet. In any case, at first I welcomed the prospect of not having to struggle every moment to survive. But in less than 2 centuries, why, I started to become terribly bored. It did not help at all that the Nightwings of the early days were the stodgiest lots you could imagine, obsessed with obeying the book as strictly as they could. Some of them started to remind me of myself, I think, when I was young. Such idiots, the lot of them. Ah, what am I saying, lovely reader? I shall not bore you further with such matters. I would have bored myself to death back then, if only I could die. Like so many other things, I think mortality is something oft taken for granted, until it is taken away. So, given your mortality, what say we get back to business? Wait, no. That's not what I wanted to do, actually. The other thing... Oh yeah, here's Tawagan. Perfect. She won't mind. Bring you Hedwyn, is what I was trying to do. Summon Hedwyn. Here, give Hedwyn the super fast crystal so that he can do his thing really easily. Summon. You ask Sandra to administer one of her special trials for Hedwyn. Oh, you must mean that nomad boy. So innocent, that one. I should have a lot of work to do with him. Soon Hedwyn appears. Hey, my friend, what's going on? You're being summoned is what's going on. Listen well, boy. You answer to me here. Understood? You are a fool. Do not talk back to me. Your reliance on your friends is such a burden upon them. Let's see what you can do without their aid, save for that lovely reader there. Have to play against a full team with just one character. Oh, this isn't going well. It does come back fast, though. That's good. Ooh. That's an obstacle in the middle of the field. Yeah, definitely part of my complaint with this game is that the arenas are visually hard to parse because of the 2D isometric sort of style. Run. Okay, 2 more. It's definitely a challenge, though. What if I just died instead? You, give me the ball. Here. Easy. What the hell is this game? It's sports, but also wizards and a visual novel. It's a bizarre game. I can't describe this game to you in a genre because this game exists outside of genres. It's weird. Seems you did indeed, boy. Your performance was sufficient and you passed my test. Thus, congratulations are in order. Now, farewell. Interesting to say the least. Yeah, it's certainly a unique game. Definitely a treasure from Supergiant Games. Good to be back after all that. Say, what's that you have there? Goals Bracer. Edwin power casts his aura with greater ease and gains infinite stamina on hit for 2 seconds. Interesting. To find their mark, Sandra and the Sisters of the Arch first had to circumvent his loyal man-at-arms. So we've got Hedwyn's legendary trinket there. Alright, let's chat about the plan. Earlier, Volfred called for a group meeting, presumably to reveal his plan in more detail. Instead, he reveals some bad news. Wait, what are you saying? What I'm saying, my boy, is that while you can indeed get yourself out of here, it cannot be all of you at once. We earn our way back, one by one, or not at all. But I swore that we'd go free together. We may go free together yet, but it's going to take time, and this is only the first phase. You, Hedwyn, and the others exchanged glances. Let me make this plainer for you still. Here's how the coming days will unfold. First, we ascend Mount Elodiel, there to the north. You may not think this wagon's fit for it, though rest assured, it's made the journey many times. Next, we pass through Scribe's Gate. Only the worthy pass through there, as your reader can attest, if he did not merely skim that chapter of the book. Afterwards, we reach the Fall of Solium and meet our adversaries in the rites. They are to be the Tempers, led by the demon Ignarius. You'll know him when you see him. Both you and they shall choose someone from your respective ranks. Then, once one of the triumvirates prevails, their someone will be whisked home to the Commonwealth. Whisked home? Precisely. Once returned, our someone is taken in, clothed, and fully pardoned. The Commonwealth knows about all this. The same Commonwealth that says a sentence into exile is forever and freedom from downside is impossible. Many of these details the scribes themselves wish to be kept secret. Former exiles and the leaders of the Commonwealth alike have good incentive to keep these secrets protected. So then, that's it. We climb the mountain, someone goes back, and everyone else stays? For most of those participating in the rites, yes, that's it. But I like your connotation, and indeed, for us that isn't it at all. If one of us returns, it shall just be a step along our path. However, let's let that sit for now. Gather your strength. We'll talk again on the way up. Ulfrid leaves the rest of you to consider what he said. You have time now for your vocations. Everyone loves Furby. Thanks for the Prime sub. Welcome to the Cozy Sub Club. Forage for resources. I kind of liked doing that last time. Forage again here. Mystical artifact. Or a potent serum. What's a potent serum do? No. Give me the juice. Permanently grant +1 hope. Ah, sweet. Worth it. Onwards in our journey then. Here before you lies Mount Elodiel, stretching far beyond your line of sight. Somewhere on this mountain lies the only place from which you can escape the downside. I'm using a controller for this, Miskatonic Blue. Good question. Yeah. Playing with controller for maximum cozy here. I imagine I'd find this a little bit easier with mouse and keyboard, but typically if I can reasonably play a game with a controller, I prefer to for ergonomic reasons. Your companions gather round again before Volfrid, who stands tall as ever. Whether from the cold air or the subject now at hand, you sense tension in the air. Now then, you all have many questions, no? I've done a lot of talking, so go on, ask away. But there is only silence. One question stands out in your mind which you refrain from asking yet. If only one of you is to go free at first, who shall it be? Go on now, don't be shy. Who first? Questions. Why us? Why you indeed, madam. That I can explain. You've seen the sort you stand against as adversaries in the rites. What is it they want, do you suppose? They want their freedom back, of course. They'll settle for it on the Commonwealth's own terms. They'll gain their freedom and some cushy new responsibilities. Perhaps then they'll have a hand in sending still more exiles here to join us. Think on it. The Commonwealth rose from the ashes of a fallen empire, thanks to the efforts of the first exiles who escaped this place via the rites. It is the Commonwealth's first and proudest tradition to honor those ones who lived to redeem their transgressions. They have a certain wisdom, do they not? But as for you, I have been looking for a certain set of dispositions for a good length of time. All I needed was for someone appropriate to show up and to listen. So, I planted many little eyes and ears throughout this land, whispering hints of this, absurd as it may sound. Took someone with a certain faith and creativity to go for it. That someone proved to be Hedwyn over there. He was tasked with seeking 2 trustworthy allies, an old buried wagon and a reader. He was invited to bring others for the ride, all different sorts, gather enough help and he and his friends could be free. Long story, but you know much of the rest. So then, why you? Because I've reason to believe you're not the sort to play back into the Commonwealth's old hand. The rights, as you have seen, are rather exclusive. You are imposters in this little party. You could be the ones to break it up. Now then, more questions. Your head is beginning to spin. Yeah, this is important. You ought to consider his every word. Volfred's explanations are a lot to take in, though you feel compelled to absorb as much as what he is willing to tell you at this point. He prompts further questions when Jodariel raises her voice again.
Inverto.
Hold. You mistook my meaning. I understand your plan. Still, I wish to know why us? Why are we, among all others, chosen for this liberation rite? Ah, I see. Well, but that is simple, really, madam. You are chosen, you are qualified, because, as the expression goes, 'tis what the scribes ordain. Though in this case, the expression is quite literally true. When the Eight created the rites, each one of them anointed certain other exiles to participate on their behalf. Exiles who showed some promise of redemption. The triumvirates they formed have stood the test of time, replenishing their numbers as their individuals move on or pass on. You've met them as they are today. The accusers, the withdrawn, all the teams. The Eight Scribes also formed a special group against which all the others would be judged. That group they called the Nightwings. You bear their books, wear their masks and raiments. You need but show up to the rites, you see. The others erstwhile jockey for a position, for a chance to take you on. Yeah, well, what if we don't? What if we don't show up? Then you would deny yourselves a chance at freedom, and deny it also to your adversaries. Victory means nothing in a common right, then. Participation is all that matters. Not so, madam. Only the enlightened may regain their freedom. While failure can be an excellent teacher, the scribes do favor the victor. So you see, those who do not conduct the rites, or do not prevail in them sufficiently, they may find themselves barred from the liberation rites. But these are technicalities. The Nightwings disbanded years ago. Since then, no one has gone free. Yet still, the other triumvirates pressed on with fleeting hope that one day you'd be back. It's been a heavy price to pay in all this. Now, if you'll excuse me, we'll talk again some other time. Some murmur to themselves about all this as Volfred takes his leave. Others reconnoiter pathways leading up the mountain and present you with some options. Emperor's Ascent or Emperor's Fall? There's valuables or a blessing. I want the valuables. I don't need temporary bonuses. Give me permanent ones. You join Pamitha on her brief expedition to find anything of value dropped by those who tried to scale the mountain but did not succeed. Wait, I shall be joining you. What now, I get 2 chaperones? But sure, I'm game, whatever you wingless are into. Be silent, little bird, and fetch those trinkets and be done. My, so full of bitterness. You really ought to make the most of those last precious moments that we share. And you ought not to mince your words. Oh, please, we all know you're going to be the first one out of here, so why not quit your constant frowning for a change? I, the first one out of here? Of course. It's plain the others pity you. You've been here longer than the rest of us by far. Besides, maybe Volfred, though he seems plenty happy here. How dare you presume? Nothing is decided of yet. Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Though if by some coincidence you do end up selected for the honor, I just want you to know something. I, truly from the bottom of my heart, do hope we shall prevail on your behalf. Because that way you shall be free. Of me at least. And I, in turn, shan't have to suffer any longer your hideous attitude toward me and everything. At that you intervene. I shall see you at the wagon, reader. Pamitha scoffs as Jodariel storms off. I swear, that one. Well, moving on, there's something sparkling down there. Be right back. Titan's Tooth. For blocking airborne adversaries, the bearer briefly stuns them and knocks them back. Ooh. It's also worth $45 bucks. Goes much more in detail than can be expected. That's cool. Looking forward to that. Sir Gilman wishes to look upon the sacred waters. Or Hedwyn expressed a passing whim to see the view. I'll allow Sir Gilman to see the waters. He seems like he could use some encouragement up here in the heights. At long last! Worm surges towards the water of the cistern. You decide to join him for a brief excursion there after another day's hard ride. You find him in a shallow pool, appearing very much content. This night, he thought he may never again feel freshwater's cool caress against his scales. He sighs, splashing about from time to time, then it turns his attention to you. You, Master Reader, are most kind. To take with you this wayward knight, he swears to prove himself to you and to the rest. He knows that soon now someone may go free. He knows the chance of whom may weigh upon you heavily indeed. For it is you who ought to make the choice, is that not so? This night he heard it from the others, so it must be true. Now listen, please, upon what little honor this knight has. This knight's penance isn't yet complete. There's much atoning to be done, so when rises the occasion to decide who ought be free, this knight wishes you to know something. Please don't choose me. Not even if you wish, not even if you can. He begs of you, allow this knight that simple dignity. With that, Sir Gilman sinks into the waters. His tail waves to you to leave him be for now. Not even if you can, he says. Consider his wish. He earned enlightenment from visiting the waters. Good for him. You and your companions gather at Scribe's Gate, where the single narrow trail to the summit narrows even more and falls upon an archway carved of stone. Come along now, everyone, and be prepared to speak your mind when you are called. Frankly, most of you still lack enlightenment, but we may pass together, much as how we act with a single heart and mind during the rites. Well then, lead onward, Tariq. Please, follow me. Removing his hat, the lone minstrel approaches the gate. You and the others follow. When the last of your companions nears the arch, you notice someone standing high above, who then appears before you. He eyes the lone minstrel first. Is that you, Tariq? It is. Greetings, Celeste. And how was your rest? Too long, Celeste. It seems your work has piled up in the meantime. You bring this many to the gate? Aye. Then let us make this quick. He gestures towards the rest of you. Now each of you in turn state who you are and what you seek while crossing Scribe's Gate. Yeah, greetings, Ashley Barrett, indeed. Do as she says, please, without questioning. Your fellow exiles exchange glances, but quickly comply. I'll start. They call me Hedwyn the Deserter. I've come here seeking freedom for myself and my companions. In my case, so I can return to be with the one whom I love. Woman bids him forward. Rookie. I am regarded by the name of Rookie Greentail. I just want to get out of here, I guess, with my chums preferably. Go see Mama back home. I am Captain Jodariel. I do not truly know as yet what I am seeking here. Oh, my name is Nay, and I think I'm here because the scribes called to me. It must be them, because if not, then who? Tizo seeks to live up to the Nightwing's legacy and maybe see the Commonwealth someday. Sir Gilman of the Sea Dominion at your service. This knight is on a quest to find his honor. He lost it. Somewhere. Hamatha Thane. I'm only here because my sister's here. Then as Volfred steps forward, the one called Celeste raises her voice. You, I recognize from the Nightwings of the past. You are not clad in the raiments any longer. I would know why.
Zemkaratarius.
Had my chance already. The Nightwings that now stand before you, I travel with them as a pilgrim now. I see. Then state why you are here, as have the others. My name is Volfred Sandalwood. I seek liberty for each of us, so that one day we may all stand shoulder to shoulder on the other side and bring freedom to the people there. She waves him by. Then she turns to you, for there was no one left to go. I'm a crippled scholar, and when they learned you knew of the old ways, they came for you, and you could not run far. You're just an old farmhand. Your youth is gone, but your thirst for knowledge earned you a trip to the downside nonetheless. You're a war orphan. Years of strife between the Commonwealth and the High-Wing remnants affected you since birth. Try as you might, you cannot make out the details of what life was like in the Commonwealth. I don't know. Who am I? You can't recall. Details of the Commonwealth are scarce within your mind. Perhaps you wish to forget the place. The one called Celeste continues to examine you, expecting you to double jump. What do you truly seek to traverse Scribe's Gate? We wish to return to the Commonwealth and to live out our days there, doing as we please. We wish to do whatever it takes to see our fellow exiles regain their freedom. I wish revenge. The Commonwealth cannot be forgiven. Or I want to see what happens. All you expect is that the outcome will be interesting. I do want to help my friends. The companions you have met here, who have helped you to survive and to find kinship in the downside, your priority is to ensure that they achieve their goals. That is all you wish for now. The woman regards you for a time, then nods once and waves you all by. The 8 scribes bid the Nightwings welcome here. Go forth with glory. By the way, it's Bubbles. Thank you for 6 months of subbage in advance. Much appreciated. And Tariq. I, Celeste. Be on your way as well. The lone minstrel bows his head, puts his hat back on. He does not look back. Not duet time? When are you guys going to play a duet? I guess later, huh? You know they have to. Literally. Obliged of them. From the top of Mount Elodiel, you can see the distant downside before you. Soon, says chat. Alright, good. You think the many thousand leagues you cross to reach this point as the sky grows dim. The mercy shown. What's up, Jody? Jadariel appears to be prepared for whatever is to come this night. Though it is not yet dark, she is already in raiments. Edwin soon joins her, also looking ready. Any sign of Rookie? None as of yet. Complained about a chafing at the collar of his mask. Our freedom might be hinging on that collar, then. I am certain that it is. They share a laugh. 3 of you exchange glances, but nothing is said or needs to be said. Soon, if Volfred is to be believed, one of your companions may regain his or her freedom. Hey, what'd I miss? Am I late? Is it starting? Is it starting yet? Easy, Rookie. We got a little time yet. How fare your struggles with your mask, Greentail? Feeling a lot better, thanks. Just had to smash it against a wall for a bit. Put some old nerves to bed there for good measure. Though this is really happening, huh? One of us might be getting out of here, like, soon. By dawn, in fact, if all goes well. If all goes well, that's one way to look at it. What are you getting at, Greentail? Well, it's just, we might be breaking up the band here, people. We got a good synergy package going together. I don't know how we're supposed to win rights after we banish our best player. Shoots a look at you. Some of us, we might not be getting out of here at all. Edwin slams his fist against the wall. No, not if I can help it. We made a promise to each other, each of us. The 4 of us, we're all getting out of here. I care about the others too, I do, but we've been here from the start. I want you to know my promise is to you, and I believe you'll do the same for me. So, it's like this. If any one of us gets out, great, but it's just a start. We're going to do whatever it takes there on the other side to make it so the rest of us can get back too. What, you think they're just going to build a bridge down here if we ask nice? I don't know what it's going to take, I just know we have to try. Jadariel turns to you. Reader, We shall find a way. She nods to reassure you and herself. Rookie nods his head in turn, and Hedwyn's gaze never once falters. Well, my friends, I think it's about time. Let's go. One by one, they turn to the door. The fall of Solium waits, a vital step in your quest for freedom. Yet you feel in your heart that it shall only be the first. Your three companions each gain some hope for the liberation rites. And we steal ourselves in turn. Keepsake from the Sclorian shore. Cool. The mercy shown. In the words of Golathanian, the Master General. The Imphaub and I, we helped to save my emperor. And when the danger did subside, my emperor, Solium Mur, he said something to me, which shook me to the essence of my being. He said, You save your freedom, Master Golath. You gave your freedom, Master Golathanian, so that I may yet have mine. You too now are an exile of the downside. In all the days which I have left, I never could repay the mercy you have shown me. So if I cannot do so in this life, I shall do it in the next. We crossed the land together, and together with the imp, we gained the company of those who saw in him what I did. And yeah, you can inspect for a clearer. Yeah, you gave your freedom. It's be a little hard to parse, depending on your screen especially. So this is nice to have. But I do like the immersive looking text, so I prefer to read that if possible. What's up, Ron? Hey guys, just so you're aware and all, I know how come you're here. How come you made it all the way up here? Oh, I know, all right. You're here because I got the lowest prices in the downside, am I right? And some of the new stuff I got in stock, you're going to see a lot of value there. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, more Stardust, don't want it. Scribe Snuff. Unlearn any masteries and choose again. Make this 2 seconds longer, mediocre. The Kerfang seems like it could be worth buying. Let's take that for now. I sold rookies, or maybe rookies wearing theirs. Pleasure doing business with you guys, so, toodaloo and all that. Commence the rites. Is everyone prepared? Hedwyn? Yes, though several of us have another question that's been troubling us. You need but ask. You said that one of us is going to return to the Commonwealth if we defeat the Templars in the rites this night. What happens if we fail? Edwin, my boy, don't you see? The path to freedom and the path to enlightenment are one and the same. Do you intend to stray from the path? No. Then you have nothing to fear. But let me be much more upfront with you. Should you be defeated by the Templars this night, then one of them shall go free instead of one of you. It is as simple as that. What then is to be done? The very same as if we achieve victory. We await our next such opportunity and make the most of it. Tonight, our plan is set in motion. We are united in our cause. We shall look as ever towards the stars for guidance and seize upon our future chances just as they arise. One day, we'll win the World Series. So look up, my boy, and set aside your doubts. It's time for the duet. And you don't need to win any of the rights.
Many years have passed since last the Nightwings gained the summit of the sacred mountain and stood upon the fall of Solium. You are to be commended for your guidance, reader. But only if you can prevail in this liberation rite.
Dark J says I liberated
Here you
Tizo
stand
first.
to gain much more than
like
some
that.
enlightenment. Your adversaries are none other than the Tempers. I trust they need no introduction.
They do,
Soon,
actually.
one among you shall regain their freedom.
Pyres burn, and each of the triumvirates is present and prepared. I concur. The pyres burn, and each of the triumvirates is present and prepared. Then, anointed one of the Tempers, come forth now and declare yourself, and pay any respects you have unto your adversaries, the Nightwings. A massive demon staggers into view. He reaches for his mask. You know who I am already, but look at what we got here. The damned Nightwings decided to show up. Almost figured we were never going to see the day again. He takes notice of someone in your ranks. Hey, you! He indicates Jodariel. She scoffs back. Lose the mask. Ain't seen one of our own in ages, not in those damned robes. Jodariel's hesitation is almost imperceptible before she moves to remove her mask. Satisfied? Whoa, you must be new. Enough talk. I like you, curly horns. Tell you what, once we put out your lights, you come along with these guys. We're gonna have a spot open. Only shame is I won't be around to show you a good time. I should rather cut out my tongue. Oh, you don't mean that. Our kind, we ought to stick together. Now, come on. Ignarius throws his mask back on as his allies snarl at the rest of you. Have the Nightwings reached a decision on whose behalf they shall conduct the rite? The lone minstrel gets your attention in his subtle way. Reader, this is it. The first companion whom you choose shall be anointed to go free this very night, if you prevail. The other two in the triumvirate shall lend their aid. As you may know, only the most enlightened in the rites are eligible to go free. Not all among you may yet be ready. Now, Nightwings, I would have your decision.
Who most deserves their freedom?
Alright, only the original three are sufficiently enlightened at the moment. We've been using them the most. I think Ruki should be first to go. Because I would like Hedwyn and Jodariel to stick around in my team for a bit longer. So we will be anointing Ruki. Excellent choice, chum. Now let's get me out of here. Then the Gate Guardian looks upon you and your adversaries. Very well, then. Under the watch of the 8 scribes, here are the stakes of this eve's liberation rites. Should the Nightwings prevail, the one called Ruki Greentail shall be liberated. Should the Tempers prevail, the exile Ignarius will go free instead. She turns to you. Now, who among the Nightwings shall complete your triumvirate?
Who shall lend him support?
Hold on. That goes on Jody. That's right. Reader's influence. And then Hedwyn is his own special trinket. You come along.
Jodariel.
Very well. Let us prevail here and see this through. I'm going to trust Hedwyn for this final match. This should be a relatively tough match, so I do want to make sure we prevail of the OG3. Sounds good. Now let's bring Ruki home. I meant to inspect the other team. Very well. The 8 scribes accept your choices, Reader of the Nightwings. He then indicates the lone minstrel. Now, are you yourself prepared, Tariq? Aye, Celeste. Then let us all begin. Nightwings, been waiting an awful long time to get out of this hole. Try and stop me.
Commence.
Sports. I'm way faster than you. Oh, this is a bit one-sided. That's cute. Just jump it. Good for nothing Nightwings. Skip out on us for years and years, then show up all of a sudden like you're gonna let somebody out for once. But now we gotta work for it, I guess. Damn it. I used to be the best. At this at least, but now the pressure's getting to me. Can't believe it's getting to me. Moira, doubt you'd recognize me anyway. Come on, Nightwings. Let's see you keep this up. Oh, I can keep this up all day, buddy. You got no chance. Whoops. Maybe I can. Glory dive. GG.
The Nightwings proved their worth. As for their adversaries, they did not. Thus ends the liberation rite. And thus the scribes have chosen. The exile appointed by the Nightwings shall be free.
Rookie shall go free at
Absolved
last.
of all misdeeds. Return to glory in the Commonwealth. His adversary and all others shall remain to carry out their rightful sentences.
What a joke. We should have had this. You should have had this. Got all rusty. You've been waiting for so damn long. Damn it. Damn it. Nightwings. Be seeing you around, I guess. And next time, you ain't gonna be so lucky. So the story does have a different outcome if he ascends to the surface. I think it's quite cool, actually, that depending on whether you win or lose the liberation rites, each of the characters have a different fate within the story. There's a lot of possible permutations. Curious how deep it gets. So, what now? I guess I'm just supposed to jump into this waterfall thing back here and then that's it? Home free. Home free. Something comes over him then. Now, listen to me, chums. Don't any of you go thinking you're gonna miss me, yeah? You're gonna do just fine, even without old rookie Greentail here to speedily dive into the enemy goal. Even though the rest of you are a bunch of slowpokes and all that. Me, I'm gonna be so busy drinking myself silly on Commonwealth stock, I'm sure I'm soon gonna forget each and every one of you. But just in case I don't, you be sure and stop by and visit me if you get back here too. Just look for Mama Greentail's shop, right in the heart of town. Can't miss it. So yeah, stop by, say hi, you know. Now, I think I gotta go. He drops into the shimmer pool and disappears within, although you can still hear him going on about something. Wow, let me tell you, this is weird. Hey, it's starting. Oh, wait. May he return in glory. Rookie leaves the downside forever.
Godspeed, Rookie Greentail. The 8 scribes are ever merciful. By their grace, the cycle of the rites may soon commence again.
Who's my favorite character at the moment? In terms of their sports ability, Jodariel. In terms of their personality, either Hedwyn or maybe Sir Gilman.
May the scribes have mercy on us all.
Yeah. That. After your victory over the Tempers in the Liberation Rite, you return to your wagon to decide how to proceed from here. I miss him already. It is quieter now, but we'll see Rookie again if we persevere. Our journey's now begun in earnest. We'll just need to make a few last preparations while we're here. What about the stars? Can we afford the time? About that, reader, go see for yourself. The sky over Mount Elodial is much darker than you would have expected. Your thoughts are with Rookie as you look towards the heavens. Where am I going? You search and search, but in vain. No stars are shining now. The stars revealed nothing, did they not? You confirm his suspicions. It is the book, as the book foretells. This is the chance we need to make ready for what lies ahead. There's a haven south of here we'll travel to at dawn. And when the stars decide to shine again, we'll be ready. Mark my words. Gilman. Back to the Liberation Rite, you find Sir Gilman in an uncharacteristically quiet and contemplative mood. He salutes you crisply with his tail. Glory to you, Master Reader, and glory to the noble Rookie Greentail. Long may he prosper in the Commonwealth. And in so doing, may he benefit the plan to which we have all been thrust. Then he falls silent for a time. You sense him growing very emotional. A noble Rookie this night found a kindred spirit, Master Reader. He was short, like me, one of questionable honor, the greatest cunning, and such blinding speed as to befit a minstrel's tale. This knight fears our triumvirate lost something irreplaceable in him. Of course, this knight is also pleased that Rookie has achieved his freedom, very much so. And furthermore, this knight shall now continue training even harder than before. Rookie Greentail, this knight shall train on and on until such a time as he is swifter than the jagged lightnings of the deathless tempest. Now, Master Reader, this knight must beg his leave of you, for it is time not for rest, but for training. Know that he is very grateful for your wisdom and your guidance in these rites. Between yourself and Master Rookie, you have instilled within this knight an unshakable resolve. He bows low and bids you good evening. Peace, bruh. Next up, we're going to continue our journey, but before that, my dear Twitch chat... Actually, no, we need to stop at a place where there's music. Let's continue journeying for the moment. It's almost break time, though. Good morning, my boy. The place I noted earlier, let me illuminate the way. Any Spire today? Not so. We're going to be playing Pyre for a few more hours, and then I've got to bounce after that. Volfred leads all of you into a calm and quiet clearing tucked away inside one of the mountain's hidden folds. All about, you see a variety of strange items and equipments. Bide your time. Huh. What's up, Volfred?
Audiame Ligaratus.
Greetings, reader. This wagon and I, we've many memories together, and I could not help relieving some of them just now. I suppose some aspects of my past may be of relevance to you, given your role. If there is something you wish to know, you need but ask. What's up with the lone minstrel?
Reprates Tareva.
Tariq was there with the Nightwings when they took me on. His manner has always been much as how you've seen. Although he is somewhat more cheerful now than I recall back then, if you can believe that. I think our plan has sparked a little fire in him. He served the Rights and the Nightwings. I have tried to ask him of his past before, but he seems reluctant to speak of it. Though it is plain that he's not from around here. This being the downside, I respect his wishes for privacy. Nonetheless, although I do not know too much of him, I count him as a friend. I lost track of him for some time, though it was he who first informed me that the Nightwings had returned. He and Tizo were instrumental in our meeting. It's been good to see him doing relatively well. Anyway, was there anything else you wish to speak of for now? Why are you banned? You ask Volfred about his past in the Commonwealth and how he came to be in the downside.
Aro desde Gan.
How forward of you, my boy. Most whom I have met during my travels have been reluctant to approach the subject of one's history before one's exile. Nonetheless, I am happy to tell you. As a reader, I assume you are familiar with the stamping press. I owned and operated one. An illegal invention allowing written materials to be published. Commonwealth was under siege from within as anti-theocratic propaganda quickly spread. I took issue with the Commonwealth, the ban on literacy, the interminable wars against the Highwing remnants. I spread the truth about it all with my machine. Under pseudonym, of course. Still, I knew I was putting myself at risk, and sure enough, my stamping press was eventually discovered and burned to the ground. I, however, managed to elude capture for a while. But not for long enough. Here in the downside, I chanced upon the Nightwings, who were searching for a reader. In that respect, my past, I think, is similar to yours. Anyway, that is the long and short of it. Now then, was there anything else? Why did the Nightwings disband? You expressed interest in knowing more of how the Nightwings came to be here and Volfred's past connection to the group.
Noxana Templis.
I've been connected to the Nightwings almost since the beginning of my days in exile. They found me in a manner, as I understand, quite like how Hedwyn and the others found you. Back then, it was a smaller group than we have now. I joined an exile called Erisa, who has a portrait, and another known as Orlek. Once in a while, we let little Tizo stand with us as well. He is rather older than he looks. The other triumvirates we stood against feared us. Only the Tempers presented any threat to us in any given right. But there was a terrible accident. Erisa, we lost her. And Orlek, he was my friend. He fell from Mount Elodiel. We lost him as well, on the night he was to be free. We were reckless, hasty, and I was powerless to stop any of it. I blamed the rights themselves, the circumstances that put us into danger. The downside has claimed many lives, yet this, it was too much. I vowed to never again don the mask and raiments. I had the black wagon cleared and buried, such that it could not be used again. If the Nightwings would arise again, it would be under different circumstances, under new leadership, towards a different purpose. That is all I wish to say of this, my boy. Thanks. You thank Volfred for his time and bid him good rest of the afternoon.
Ligaratus.
Likewise to you, reader. Be well. Oops, not you. You. What's up with Sandra? Got anything to say? This place, where you currently reside, it must be Mount Elodiel, is it not? This was where those blasted scribes decided what to do with me. I had already failed in my mission to eliminate the demon Solium Myrrh. Those are quite the horns. I did not anticipate his retinue, you see. They took me and some of my Beyonders alive, although do not expect to see account of that in their good book. Whether it was for mercy or for spite, I never became certain. They probably presumed that my expulsion for eternity would eventually have taught me some respect for them, but no, not yet. Not yet. Well, I do not mean that, really. The scribes did spare my life, and were it not for that, I would never have been thusly trapped to then enjoy your company, O lovely reader. Now, having met my quota of blaspheming for the time, I think it best we resume the normal sort of business between us. And good hunting at the precipice. May you soon rid the downside of some useless idiot. Yeah, Rookie, goodbye. -1 idiot.
Simadaret.
Everyone, the amenities are modest here at the Moonlight Alcove, but I suggest you get comfortable. We may be here for some time. Now, this is the perfect moment to take a break. Look at the music cued and the perfect line of dialogue. So here at Twitch Chat is where I'm going to leave you for a moment as I take a quick break here. I suggest that you get comfortable. We may be here for some time. I'm back in a few minutes. I'm going to refill the leg, stretch the water, have a little quick bite of snack, and then we'll be back for more Pyre. BRB. Sorry about the audio there. Boopity boop, we're back. Twitch chat. Welcome, welcome. Back to the game. No, Volfred was just telling us to get comfy. Hope you all did.
Namorente.
As for myself, I have some business to attend to. Please leave the wagon in my care for now. It shall be ready when you next need it. From the mountaintop, you can see across the downside. Its impossible expanse staring back at you. Thought occurs to you that you may never see another land besides it. And so, you and your companions wait upon the mountaintop in quiet solitude, anticipating when the cycle of the rites begin to turn again. Then you shall have another opportunity to free one of your own. You may earn back their freedom, one by one. Many moons pass. Then, one evening. May I have a moment, reader? The lone minstrel finds you poring over the Book of Rites, as has been your leaning through your stay at this abode. Begging your pardon, but there is something you may wish to see. Please follow me. You follow him into the cold night. Look forth, reader, sir. The stars shine like you have never seen. Once more, the path towards salvation is revealed, but now something is different. Each prior time you searched the stars, they showed to you but a single path. But now, several rites avail themselves to you at once. Henceforth, you may choose from several different rites, choosing our path towards salvation. The Accusers. My record against them is 1-0. Let's see, so we have a record against each team. We should pay respect to the fates. It's a long way from here. The stars urge that we go to the Ridge of Goal, a long way off. Volfred, sir, how are we to reach the Ridge of Goal in due course of time? You know full well, Tariq. Preparations are complete. You think you see the lone minstrel smile, ever faintly, but cannot be sure. Please ask the others to gather their belongings, rest, and assemble at the wagon there at dawn. We shall be departing at that time. As you will, sir. The cycle begins anew. As the years advance, you'll find there ought to be fewer rites this time, until once more we are to traverse Scribesgate. Exactly how many it's difficult to say, but our next chance at liberty ought present itself much sooner than before, so let's be ready for it. See you in the morning, dear reader. Our companions have not traveled far from Moonlight Alcove, where the news soon spreads through the group. Next morning, Volfred calls everyone to gather before the Black Wagon. This old wagon is more than it appears. With Bertrude's aid, it escorted you across the sea to me. Now it shall escort us anywhere the stars require. Come and see. Something has changed. What looked before to be old cracks and signs of age now expose various intricate components once hidden from view. You are the Nightwings. You should travel in their customary way. He turns to you, indicating levers and devices marked with symbols from the book. Now, reader, whenever you're ready, you may take us up. I'll show you how. And everyone else, hang on. Having soared into the sky, the Black Wagon remains aloft, somehow. Can't believe it. Never thought I'd soar like this again. Impossible.
Luxana Tempres.
The Nightwings sail the skies again, wheresoever the stars may call for them. There is one catch. The downside provides few locales suitable for landing, though we should be able to find at least a couple landing places near where we're going. We'll then make way by land or sea towards our destination.
Rendusaritas.
Now, without further ado, let us proceed. Hey there, Abcrass. If you type exclamation point blasphemy vault, you should find the clip I'm referencing. Yeah. There you go. There's the full run. That's the one. How dare you, you Nightwing scum! You blasted fools, you cannot intimidate the accusers. We shall face you soon enough in a forthcoming right, but first we have another pack of fools whom we must vanish shortly. Until then, stay out of our way. Cool, we can bump into them. Game is weird. Land here. As you soar above the waters of Worm Gulf, you notice Sir Gilman sidle up to you very slowly. We are very, 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 very high above the waters, if this knight is not mistaken. This knight's brethren lurk beneath the surface there in numbers untold. Fortunately, if we were to come crushing to the surface now, then this knight, why, he would receive a watery burial, as is the custom of his kind. Good for you, Gilman. Below, amid the desolation of flagging hands, you see Big Bertrude, from which you first embarked by sea. You wonder how the venerable proprietor is faring. I am certain that Big Bertrude must have left a strong impression on you all. She is not easy to forget. I've known her since before either of our exiles. She's been here a long time. I've sent my agents to repay her for assisting you and to send her our regards. The old wagon must have been in need of some repair. Yonder lies the Ridge of Goal, somewhat less imposing when viewed from this vantage point. Do you not agree, reader? The myths of the downside hold that it is no mere ridge of stone, but the remains of Lord Gantroth, once slain by Golathanian himself. Serpent Titan. Though perhaps such tales are of little import now when you stand to confront the fate there in just a short while. Landing points. Expedient path. Vocations. You make a successful landing in Downside Prairie, near the southern edge of the Downside. Memories of having first met Hedwyn, Jodariel, and Ruki come flooding back. Your companions assist with a routine inspection of the wagon. Hedwyn reports the hull is well intact. Tizo observes small fractures in the edges of the wing flaps, though on further scrutiny this proves not to be cause for concern. The rest of the group got through the flight without incident. What we got here? Greystone exhibits a flagrant disregard for natural law, thus providing entertainment. Yields fruit from time to time, though only if one says the magic word. I got a berry. Sir Gilman is shivering after the Black Wagon's maiden voyage through the skies. Master Reader, this knight is very, very slightly out of sorts, is all. He merely appears terrified, but he assures you this seeming cowardice is but an optical illusion. Tabitha overhears. Flying's not for everyone, Sir Knight. This knight heartily concurs, though how anyone at all can stand it he has yet to understand. Well, let's see. What's it like to swim the waters of the Sea Dominion? Ah, those glorious murky waters, engulfed in hideous warfare, to be sure, but otherwise a joy to cut across, to feel the coolness of the waves beneath one's gill slits and the like. Though this knight is now accustomed to his life above the surface. Flying's just the same, Sir Knight. It resists those of us not born to it. I, in turn, have wondered what your seas are like, but the thought of swimming fills me with disgust. Though I haven't had to swim and you have had to fly, that's very brave of you. And you handled it better than some harp fledglings I've met in my day. You'll get used to it. She departs, but you can sense Sir Gilman is feeling better after the exchange. Alright, what's up, Sandra? She has nothing on her mind. Well, we do have some new pages in the book, though. Let's read these. Got a lot of stuff going on here. Why? Page flip. To like. No? Page 149? Wow, this book has way more pages than I realized. But is there not a convenient way to go one page left or right? What do you mean? Yeah. Okay, I can do it with the mouse. That's fine. Living in exile, in the words of Jomur Menimane, the Alpha Chief. Since I too roamed free, I remember well those days in which I was called Chief. I traveled all the world over on my four good paws, and I was well adored. I wanted to grow stronger. Here at last I have. I shall not mince my words. This place shall either harden you or kill you. It shall haunt you with old memories. You all share the exile's plight. My charge is to alleviate the sting of it for you a little bit, and to prolong your stay, but only for as long as needed. Your charge is to return. We call this place the downside for a reason, but in time, here you can learn to eat, to seek out shelter, and to find a certain beauty in unlikely places. I guess we don't have any more pages to this chapter. Forsaken Lands. In the words of Molten Milithy, the Wild Witch. Years upon long years we spent distilling life essence from many things, which all once writhed under the auspices of their mortality, which we ourselves cut short. In this we have no regrets, for we learned much, and so we think did they. We earned the title Witch, and we were forced to flee into the downside. Here we encountered Solium Myrrh, and soon we gained an understanding of each other. He bade us circumnavigate these lands and catalog our findings. We felt a strong desire to expose the secrets of this land. He wished to yield benefit to those who followed in our wake. Indulge us both, then. RB. Press that. Oh, I see. The downside is connected to our realm via a single artery, the river named for our prestigious sap colleague, Lu Sklorian. That river gushes into seeming nothingness. That seeming nothingness turns out, of course, to be the downside. Its existence undermines thousands of years of thought about the composition of our world. The downside's southern edge we call the Sandfolds. It is a desecrated wasteland, speaking well to this land's lack of hospitality. Here, the strength of many who survive the river journey finally fails. If only they could clamber further north, where lies the verdant downside prairie. A better place to perish, to be sure. Gaining the summit of the sacred Mount Elodiel involved no small amount of sacrifice and sorcery in varying proportion. The mountain's energies were palpable, the sensation that we felt indescribable. The lands we stood upon were closer to the stars than to the world we knew. It was upon the highest point in all the downside that we first made efforts to concoct this tome, which you now read. It was there that we were stricken with a vision of the cycle of the rites and felt together for the first a sense of freedom unlike any we experienced before. But that is a subject which our comrades shall illuminate in greater detail. First Exile. Okay, we just read part of Chapter 3. In the words of Luce Glorian, 100 Minds, the scholar. Do you feel a kinship with the stars? You owe your everything to them, perhaps. One day, even your freedom. I chased the stars across the river of my genealogy until they led me here. I demanded they explain to me the paradox of knowledge, for how is it that something can be shared, but still contained within ourselves in its entirety? The stars did not respond, but set me on a quest. I sought the 9 landmarks which they revealed to me, so that someday I would reveal their mysteries to you. These landmarks, emissaries of the stars, are 9 lenses through which we see the land and see ourselves in a new light. Much can be said about the Sisters of the Arch, whom we banished to the great beyond for deeds irredeemable. Suffice it that the details of their banishment are written in this book. The sisters and the book became inseparable, not unlike the stars, both their light and the infinite darkness that engulfs them. The stars communicate to us, and you in turn. The words within this book are but an edifice, a simple surface. Look past the text to the hidden meaning, to the hidden power. The stars above, as they are not mere lights, these are not mere words. If you chance upon the Sisters of the Arch within their prison here, give them our thanks. Nine Triumvirates. In the words of Haub the Swallow, the Accursed. At first I found it much too difficult to read, much less to write, even to grasp the quill. But the Horned One Myrrh implored me. He said this is the greatest gift that he could give me in return. In return for what? I asked. In return for his life, he said. But I did not save your life, I said. You did, he said. We fight about this still. Myrrh is stubborn, more than I. Now herein and by his leave I chronicle the 9 Triumvirates, for I am of this land, unlike the rest who wish to leave. We knew not everyone could leave who wanted. Seldom would the opportunity arise. Thus did we organize those striving for the chance into 9 sets of 3. To call the Beyonders a triumvirate is to stain the others' efforts, yet I am beholden to describe them here. A pack of bandits, loosely organized under the Sisters of the Arch, they traveled all this way into my land to take the Horned One's life, to kill my friend, Myrrh. We thwarted them. We had them at our mercy. Mercy had become imperative to Myrrh. We spared their lives, but banished them to darkness far beyond these lands. Now and forever, the Beyonders cling to a beholden duty to confront the true triumvirates whenever they so choose, so that whenever the true triumvirates clash, it shall be to their fullest extent. That's all we have in that chapter. Commonwealth. In the words of Triestra Tithis, the Blessed-born, we, the 8, assembled here together in the downside, and we gave our freedom so that you may yet have yours. It is an exchange which we have not lightly made. It is my charge to ensure that you, should you regain your freedom, first off recognize its qualities, and also use it wisely. You do not need a pair of wings in order to be free. My own wings, I once thought that they could take me anywhere, and they took me here, where I am bound. It is your charge to be free, and not to make the same mistakes. Spring from here and learn from what we did, and build a new and great society, a free society, with wings spread wide for everyone. That's all the book reveals to us for now. It's quite a bit. Let's survey Hollowroot. Having reached the wind-swept fields of Hollowroot, you volunteer to survey the grounds. Our companions beat us to it. At ease, reader. We shall conduct the survey this time. They depart. When they later return with nothing much to report, you are feeling better in the midst of deciding which vocation to pursue. Let's get our permanent boosts up here. Despite your growing knowledge of the Book of Rites, you struggle to grasp certain aspects of its teachings. Yeah, let's be faster. The 8 scribes who composed this book, their influence and experience spreads through the pages. Everyone is faster. At dawn, everyone seems to have recovered from the rigors of your maiden voyage across the skies. It is time to return to the Ridge of Goal and confront the fate once again. Face Dalbert and his human son, who looks like a dog. More book pages, all right. The serpent titan Gandroth turned to brittle stone not long after his death. Of that you may be certain. What remains is a flat, elevated basin that stands us closer to the heavens. Upon the fallen Gandroth's hide, the stars themselves alight, and you shall know you stand on sacred grounds. We set the metal sigils, lit the candle flames, and we emblazoned on the rock-like forms the sigil of our passage to and from this land. And then the stars themselves, they did reply to us. They sang, shining bright, their voices loud and clear. We understood their cadence, and we knew how often to return. There's 2 new pages, though, right? Wish this was a bit easier to navigate. It's not. You find Jodariel seemingly deep in thought. You reconsider whether even to bother her. Your presence is not unwelcome, reader. Remain a moment, please. She stares at you for some time. Today marks the beginning of my 16th year in exile. You look back at her and remain silent. You sense that all she wants from you right now is for you to listen. I have kept count. Put notches in this breastplate for each passing day. Notice how much it has frayed. 16 years, reader. The orphans whom I fostered would be long since fully grown. Some of them are likely gone. Many of them spoke of how they longed to one day serve with me on the blood border. On the what? A flat and vulnerable expanse. Sometimes I cannot help but wonder, if I were still captain, could I have protected them? Could I have made a difference? I think not. The Commonwealth and the Highwing remnants, they fought eternally. Those such as I have come and gone through the ages. I catch myself feeling pity for my years, but then, had I remained there on the blood border, it is unlikely I would have lived to see this day. She looks at you again.
Per una lettura.
Do you know why they cast me down? I was a decorated captain. They said I was the best.
Tondiamen.
One day, it was a standard patrol. I ran across a pack of harp fledglings, fully armed and preparing for a strike, but all on their own. They were nothing for my regiment. We ensnared them all and took them in. A considerable prize. They were not yet conditioned and could be made to talk. When the order came down they were to be executed, I could not bring myself.
Civitercità.
Commonwealth, priding itself on mercy, committing such acts through one such as me, it was unconscionable. So I thought then, at least in my younger years, I let the damn birds go. Made no claims as to the contrary, and turned myself in. I was cast down the following week, 16 years ago. Thus, my enemies had the last laugh in that exchange. If I were faced with the same choice again today, I do not know for certain that I would have chosen just the same.
Santana dira.
Now then, I shall go and mark this occasion as I have always done. Be well, reader. He heads out of the wagon alone. Exiled for refusing to execute the younglings. Valid. What's up, Ron? Hey guys, say, what are you guys doing all the way back here? You know, it's not so bad here, I was thinking, and I got some pretty good stuff. What's this? Twilight Shard. Oh, when flinging the orb into the adversary's pyre, deal bonus damage. Interesting.
Right,
Okay, we should be able to sell this now, because we no longer have Ruki. Give me your dust. I like dust.
Great taste. Great taste. Great taste.
Pleasure was all mine and Dad's, you guys. Commence the rite. You and the others are busying yourselves for the commencement of the rite this evening when you notice Nay behaving more strangely than usual. Maybe he's here, I mean. He has to be somewhere nearby. He notices you. Oh, I'm sorry, mister. I was just... Oh, I think maybe my friend is here. And I was hoping to say hi to him before we have to do the ceremony with the star ball. Wait, that's him. My friend is here. He's here. So then your adversaries, the Fate, arrive on the other side of the Ridge of Gold. They begin making necessary preparations. Nay rushes over to them before anyone can stop her. Hey there, T-Serp. This is indeed a very cozy game. Very cool game. Such a unique story and world building.
Reader, ever persevering, aren't we? Well then, rejoice, because the cycle of the rites begins anew. Perhaps you'll liberate another soon enough.
Maybe.
Your chosen adversaries here shall be the Fate. Reduce their flame to ash, just as you did when last you met. Now, who exactly shall oppose them?
I think we should let Faye play. We need to get some enlightenment on the others so we have more options for who to free. Hello again. Why, hello indeed, young one. We are the Fates, and once again we hail you and all the Nightwings. Thanks. I was wondering, can I speak to your son? Why, I don't see why not. Elmer, where are you? Begging your pardon, young one, but my son, he's not always punctual, you see. Okay, my friend and I hope he remembers me. You, wait, where's father? Father? Oh, hello again. Your father, he went looking for you. Didn't you see him? No, I did not see him. This had best not be some Nightwing's trick, or else I'll... There you are, Almar. Our cordial adversary wishes to salute you, I believe. Oh, that's right. Here, this is my salute. I am saluting you. It's nice to see you, and may the scribes watch over you, okay? I want them to watch over us all, well, but maybe just this time, or not just this time, but this and other times maybe they can watch over all of us, okay? Two of them stand and watch as Nay skips over to rejoin the group.
So primeros,
Unusual sort, that one. He is.
sus bravadeos.
He's about your age? Father? Dad,
Some fortus
stop trying to hook me up with our enemies. I pray that all our training since our last encounter shall not be in vain. Fate are more capable than before. Do not underestimate them.
Who shall conduct the rites?
Let's have a look at them. While the bearer's pyre has less health than the adversaries, the bearer deals bonus damage of +6. That's pretty potent. A quickness of 17. Also deals bonus damage. Yeah, they all have the same thing. Okay. They do bonus damage if we're winning. No biggie. All right,
Anytime.
Faye, you are going to be joining the crew. Let's have Sir Gilman play, too. Jody can sit one match out.
Headwind. Nay.
Shiru-sama?
Sir Gilman.
This knight can think of none so honorable as the fate, excluding present company, of course. Heal yourself, Almer. Are you prepared to face our adversaries again? Always, Father. Let us prevail, here and now. They're purple. Oh, he's fast.
Your adversary's
So am I.
fire is the first to falter. Oof. Gilman caught out.
Ooh, nice jump.
Unacceptable.
Impressed with that,
Show
actually.
of strength from the Nightwing's opponents.
Do not underestimate them, indeed.
Edwin doused the adversary's flames.
What are you doing, you? Put your mask back on. We're in the middle of a rite. Oh, I know. I wanted to say, I think you're very brave. Because we've encountered many triumvirates. I mean, we have the dissidents and the tempers and... What are you talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean My name is Nay. I wanted you to know my name. It's Nay, since I know yours. See, then ready yourself, Nay. We shall not hold back.
Such a struggle it must be for poor old Dalbert and his witless son.
Witless!
Headlong goes Sir Gilman into flame. Yes.
Faye is not really participating in this match, and I don't care about it. Ooh. Now she is.
Your pyre sputters.
Does. Good jump.
Oh, so close. The Worm Knight somehow did it. Oh. Edwin doused the adversary's flames.
Somehow.
Once more like that, and we are finished here. Ouch. Now then, and it is done.
GG.
The Nightwings prevail. Perhaps they do deserve their freedom after all.
Yeah.
The ceremony is complete.
Wait, I'm sorry, I just wanted to apologize, I think.
So primeros.
Why, young man, you must not say such things. You are one of the Nightwings, the most envied of all triumvirates. We aspire to your greatness and your legacy.
Aremta, Father.
Father, please, no more of this. They have prevailed. We need not grovel at their feet. Almer, is it? Almer, I had a question.
Cruce taricta.
Ask quickly and go about your business. I just, would you be my friend?
Huh? What?
I was wondering if you'd be my friend, because, I don't know, I don't have a lot of friends, and you're brave and gentle with your father. Oh, ho, ho, ho. I shall see you in a little while, my son. Wink. What? Dad? The scribes, were they not friends? I choose to think they brought us here to be closer together, not to be apart.
Bask
A friendship
now in
blossoms.
the wisdom of the scribes. Something's awakened in the moon-touched girl.
The scribes, they whisper to me, they do, from time to time. Enlightenment achieved. Brief charge-up time is reduced. Yeah, let's get this.
A devious trick from the rope collar. Honor is elusive, O Sir Gilman.
So grateful is this knight for such a glorious occasion that he is giving strong consideration to performing here and now the forbidden dance of the Sea Dominion. Not the forbidden dance. Why don't I try this done? It sounds hilarious.
Until the stars align.
Very cool. You return to the wagon after you and your fellow exiles secure victory over the Fate and find Volfrid awaiting for you there.
Us.
Well done back there, my boy. You are serving your companions well. Now then, I've something that I wish to share with you, if you've a moment. We have discussed the plan of which we're all a part. I have a means of measuring our progress toward the goal of it. I'd like for you to have a look. First, let's determine where the rites take us next.
Vistare daste.
Look forth. I expect you shall again see several shining stars, where once you saw but one. I want to trounce the witches again. Vernal star.
Mostrate me.
Several shining stars, a trick of the eye or the will of the scribes. Who can say? I, too, once gained this newfound vision many years ago, following my first liberation rite. And I believe only we of the Nightwings have this gift. I realized that in choosing whom the Nightwings confront in each rite, we in turn influence which triumvirate we face when next the time comes for someone to be set free. The object I invite you to use contains further detail. Use Volfrid's planner. Look upon the planner now. Got a win-loss record for everybody. Favor. Using Volfrid's planner, you may assess your progress towards your ultimate goal as well as check the current standings of your adversaries. Volfrid shall keep this information up to date for the remainder of your quest. So we have all of the teams on the roster, their win-loss ratio, their current score. The triumvirate with the highest favor is poised to take on the Nightwings in the next Liberation Rite. Okay, so currently the Essence are favored. A 29% probability of success. At long last, the plan is well underway. The cycle of the rites turns quickly for the time. We soon should have another stab upon the fall of Solium. Neat. So we can fight Tamitha. Or the Dissidents. The Withdrawn. We'll face them. I was not in any hurry to cross paths with Udmilde again. Turns out she's even worse than I thought, depending on how superstitious you are. He then reveals what he has learned of her and her designs. Witch Udmildi, one of the Bog Dwellers and head of the Withdrawn, a triumvirate more interested in legends of Islok the Astralborn than in the rites. Her kind was known to be reclusive in the Commonwealth, yet she was brazen in her disdain for common values. She practiced the unspeakable. Somehow, one day her research into flammable reagents grew into an obsession with Islok, despite widely held belief that he is either dead or never existed. But Udmildi held that Islok is merely dormant and shall someday be reborn with newfound hunger, which could only be sated by devouring the worlds. Then at last could Islok return to his glorious home, and Udmildi would go with him. When Commonwealth officials showed up to take Udmildi in for spreading unrest, she was all too eager to comply. After all, a sentence to the downside meant being that much closer to Islok's resting place, where she believed she had much work to do, where the Withdrawn stood ready to assist. I don't know if we can stop whatever she's up to, but prevailing against her in the rites should slow her down at least. Anyway, good luck getting to sleep. See you in the morning. You bid Hedwyn a restful night, in kind. It is too late to take flight, so you expect to press onward come daytime. The Fate. The Fate united under Many-Mane the Alpha Chief. He's brash, but follows his traditions. He prizes faith, discipline, and honor, qualities he seemed to lack at first. He formed the Fate under the precepts of olden bylaws of his four-legged ancestors. They believed in a certain natural order in the way of things. Many-Mane wanted for the Fate to likewise show respect. Initially, he only chose from other curs. He, however, urged the Fate to replenish their numbers from any race or ethnic group thus willing. Thus shall they anticipate what is to come, with open eyes and minds, and never frown upon what is in store for them. Nay seems very happy about something, and has been chanting softly to herself. On closer inspection, she seems to be engaged in conversation with the wagon wall. And so, after the rite, I think he said to me, farewell. Can you believe it, little brother? He said that, and then he left to go find Mr. Dalbert, who went on ahead. And so I think that maybe we're friends now? Don't you think so, too? We have a lot in common, don't we? Friends are supposed to have a lot in common, right? For instance, we're both fighting for those we care about, and those who helped us when we needed it. Is that not so? He's very lucky to have met Mr. Dalbert, isn't he? He falls silent for a time, then... It cannot be that the 8 scribes intended that all of us just have to fight each other all the time. It just cannot be. So many whom we face, they don't like us very much, do they? Because if we prevail against them, it must mean that they cannot go home, even if they really want to. So that's why they don't like us. Back home, when they told me to stop being me, I didn't like them either. You know what... You want to know what I think, little brother? I think the scribes put us together in all this so that we can learn from one another and grow together as friends. That's what I think, little brother. I told them so. And maybe the next time I see Almer and Mr. Dalbert again, they will be happier to see me too. She bounds off, noticing you as she goes. Hi, mister. You sense some burden has been lifted from her, and her knowledge of the rites, however informal it may be, has crystallized into a deeper understanding. Nay gets permanent hope up. Wish her well. Good for her. Canvas wings. Time to fly. You soar near the border of the Sandfold, where your companions first found you in the downside long ago. There's nothing for you here, and you never wish to see it again. Fair enough. How's it going, Mr. Second Half? What's up? The unmistakable remains of Zilvus Horse-Headed, which protrude from the ashen fire there below. Some have taken it to be a work of sculpture, reader. The tale of a titan felled by Saint Trieste Tithys. That is more unbelievable than the thought of some daring exiles over many years carved it over stone. Carved it out of stone. Be that as it may, the climate and the cliffs are home now to exiled harps, such as the Essence, whom you faced here when you first arrived. Even they do not know all of the locale's sacred significance. Nay gets a deeper understanding, or Headwind suspects you may find some peace here. Peace sounds good. Your wagon touches down in Black Basin. You briefly wonder at what might have happened had your paths not crossed, as you consider what to do with the remains of the afternoon. The Beyonder Crystal seeks Sir Gilman. And we have a new page to read. Black Basin. In the words of Molten Milithy, the Wild Witch, the continent we called Black Basin shall one day tear itself apart, arriving upon blackened molten crags, tolerable only by the harp Triesta. We pressed onward towards the suffocating wood. This land felt to us somehow primordial. Deep in its roots and noxious crevices lay innumerable clues as to its ancient history. But we had little time to excavate, for our own supplies by then were thin. Further, we were lost. Our best attempts at circumnavigation had all failed. It was Luce Glorian who reached out at last, unto the stars, and they revealed the way. Then we at last could see the sacred Mount Elodiel, there, in the distance.
Marin Frantes.
What's up?
Savenza lam yamita.
Ah, my best friend in all the world, come to visit me again. Does it make you uncomfortable, perhaps, that I should call you thus? Perhaps you think that you do not yet know me very well, but I know you just fine. You reveal a great deal to me when you come visit me like this. You are not the only one who can sense things in others, you know. She laughs to herself.
Intarina simta.
One learns to read a bit when forced to suddenly appear within a book for 837 years or so. Especially if one is wont to pry a little, you understand, for it gets rather boring here. I know all about you, a common wanderer who vowed to help his friends to be free again, only to end up spending all his time talking to an apparition stuck in a stone. Oh, I know about your loves or lack thereof, about your favorite pastimes, certain habits you may be somewhat loath to admit.
Mutempri hostia.
You're not, of course. I use this special knowledge only as a means to entertain myself, I think. And if you don't like it, why, just keep your distance. As for the other Beyonders, they are as wraiths to me. I must seem to all those idiots with whom you consort. As I must seem to all those idiots with whom you consort. I cannot confide as easily in my own kind as I can confide in you. But I suppose I have said too much. Thank you as ever for the visit. You have given me a lot to think on, more than you know. Give me the trial.
Arum tanuche.
Gilman, time to earn your trinket.
Novarem gubret
You think that
estas.
dimwit of a worm has any chance? Perhaps you are correct, though I put little stock in him myself. Let us bring him forth. Soon Sir Gilman appears. Master Reader, is this knight perchance in trouble for something? Yes. Does this game have PvP? I believe so. I do believe there is a versus mode.
Rama far.
Listen well, Worm. You answer to me here. As you will, Your Highness.
Asem tastes.
Your Highness, I like the sound of that, though flattery will get you nowhere here.
Malodemos te.
Demonstrate your competence to me then, Worm. You shall have to do it mostly on your own. Of course, Your Highness. This knight accepts the challenge. Big aura. They're all pretty slow, though. It's a local. Okay, it's not online. I was thinking that online multiplayer was probably beyond the reach of Supergiant. So it's just a local PvP mode. That makes sense. Well, I imagine the audience for that is pretty limited. Oh, I like the boing sound when he jumps. Let's see if I can throw the ball in for the last point. I've been doing enough throwing. Not like that. Good job, Sir Gilman. Huzzah! This knight prevails. I have no choice but to concur with that assessment, Worm. Your performance was sufficient. Thus, congratulations are in order, to you and to your lovely reader. Now, farewell. Master Reader, this knight is humbled, having passed that sorcerer's test. By the scales of the Under King Orez, what is that? Orez's scale. Sir Gilman jumps further than usual. Oh, that's spicy. Gilman with, like, the crazy big jumps? That sounds amazing, actually. Why don't we go ahead and power that up? %60 further jumps. Badass. Magma mug. Whoosh. Amethyst moonshine. Amethyst notices you with her bottle of moonshine. Drink up, by all means, darling. Nice to find a boy after my own heart. She moves in close and lowers her voice. Let me tell you a little secret. That bottle there, it's enchanted. Never runs dry. Ever. Believe me, if it could, I would have known. Apparently with some spurned old bog crone that once tried and tried to make a never-ending poison, but kept failing utterly, till she threw away her life's work in disgust. I fetched a good price for it. Decided to take a swig one day while on the hunt for Temitha when things weren't going quite as well for me as they are now. Turns out that stuff's pretty good. Considered it for sharing, darling. Just everything in moderation and so on, I mean, she did succeed at making a never-ending poison. Alcohol do be poisonous and all that. Let's relax. Edwin gathers everyone together in a quiet spot, somewhere in the molten crags of High Wing Cove. We've been pushing ourselves now for a while. Everyone, we're taking the night off. Set aside your troubles and concerns as best you can. Would the troubles and concerns could be cast aside with such ease. You'll have to show me what you people do for fun. Tizo seems more than happy to be taking a break. In time, everyone takes Hedwin's request to heart, each in their own way. It proves a pleasant evening and the group's spirits are lifted, especially once dinner is served. Favor the respites. Tizo? You observe Tizo rummaging around the black wagon in search of something. He notices you there and rushes up to greet you. Tizo is glad you're here, was reminiscing about old times. Tizo was looking for something a former exile of the Nightwings once gave him. He's growing frustrated that the object he seeks is nowhere to be found. You almost don't notice the lone minstrel approach. I'm afraid it is gone, Tizo. I am very sorry. Reader, it is nothing that ought to be cause for much concern, merely that Tizo has misplaced something of sentimental value to him. Tizo, it was just a spare bandage, he indicates, exactly like the one on his horn. Tizo here has had many adventures with the Nightwings. Is that not so, Tizo? Those memories shall always stay with you. Is that not what matters most of all? He confirms this as well. Then please do not worry yourself about it anymore. It is a symbol of a distant past besides. Tizo skulks away into the rafters. The object that he seeks does not exist, reader. Tizo searches for it from a fleeting memory of his days with the Nightwings of the past. He performed the regular duties of other drive imps at first, but soon distinguished himself. I was none too surprised. He had grown close with the other members of the Nightwings when misfortune fell and the Triumvirate fell apart. Perhaps Volfred has revealed to you more of the details. As for Tizo, I feel he must make peace with the shadows of his past somehow. Perhaps then he shall cease searching. You need not worry for him, of course. He is resilient, and shall always serve the Nightwings well. You might say he was born for it. Begging your pardon, reader. The lone minstrel excuses himself in his polite way, leaving you to consider what he has said. Neat. Onward, then. A messenger imp with news and rumors from the other side comes huffing towards your wagon, here in the thick underbrush of Black Basin. You let it in and offer it some light refreshment, as Rookie would have done. The imp's message turns out to be about him. You learn Rookie's past transgressions have been forgiven since his return to the Commonwealth. He was offered a well-appointed home and a place of business. It must have represented exactly the kind of lavish lifestyle that Rookie always claimed to have had for himself and his extended family. Eventually, and somewhat reluctantly, however, he refused the gifts. Instead, he tracked down Volfred's agents, gave them ample information, thus emboldening their ranks. The last bit of the message sounds as though it was transcribed word for word from something Rookie said. It simply reads, "The rest of you better get back here soon, or else." You thank the messenger imp for the report. Soon it has all your companions talking. Tizo is happy to learn that Rookie joined the revolution. It seems that Greentail had himself a conscience after all. Hard to believe he would have turned down living in that kind of luxury, though maybe he got used to it out there. Ah, the noble Rookie! He sets a shining example on to us all. The days aren't quite so bright without him, though it sounds like he's doing well out there. Don't you think he must have been sad to have turned down a house? I hope he's not sad. The news of Rookie's liberation fills you and your fellow exiles with newfound resolve. Imp takes some scraps to eat and rushes off. Even more hope. Scribe's deeds. In the words of Golathanian, the Master General, I wish to be remembered not for boastfulness. Thus I refrain from detailing our exploits across the land, save to say that they were numerous. Know that only through our combined strength of arms and wit did we withstand this savage land. Such were the monstrous dangers that it posed. I came to see that all the terrors which I heard at bedside in my youth were based entirely in fact. So great they were, they blotted out the sky. Such was the evil that we vanquished, that the remnants of it yet shine under the stars. And in the end, it was the stars which guided us towards our truest calling, sports. In the words of Luce Glorian Hundred Minds, the ashen effigy of the nightmare titan Zilvis Horseheaded looms as dark as ever on the precipice of Black Basin, where her chaotic influence sundered the land itself until it wept with fire. The very instant that our graceful friend Trieste Tithys finally laid to rest the greater titan with the power of the holy scepter of the empire, the stars shone down upon us all with blinding light. Trieste thought that she could bear her children in the warmth there, but alas. Now the stars revisit that locale with regularity. The fissures in the rock do pose more danger than one ought invite, but a summons to the nest is to be honored. Cool. Well, hey guys, let me tell you something real quick. Now, I happen to have heard that Mr. Greentail, he's moved on or something like that, right? Well, I just want you to know he was one of my favorite customers, and because of that, I'm giving you the same great deals, okay? Thanks. Interesting. After dousing the adversary's pyre, the bearer earns a reward up to 3 times of $5. Scoop. I don't feel the need to get a money-making pyre talisman, but you could, I guess. Must be our lucky day here, or I don't know what, Dad. Commence the rite. Though the now familiar surroundings of the nest of Trieste make preparations faster than before, the stars are already aflame by the time me and the others are gathered. Here we go. You ready, Tizo? Tizo is ready. You wish them all good fortune in turn. Little else is said, and together you watch the celestial harmony in calm and silence and await the withdrawn.
Good evening there, you exiles of the Night Wings. The 8 scribes summon you to the nest of Trieste. The adversaries you are to confront shall be the withdrawn, whose ever pyre yet burns ere the break of dawn shall surge forward on the path to glory. Now prepare yourselves.
Hey there, Oiski. Thanks for 45 months. Previous time, ye snuffed our pyre's flame, prevailed. This time, all for Islak. No matter the result, no matter the cost. We can take him. Who's up for this one? Our pyre starts
Who
depleted.
shall conduct this rite?
Let's see. He's got 2 imps that do bonus fling damage. Do have different stats, slightly. None of them are very fast. Yeah, big agree. The soundtrack in this game is really well done, very varied. Very excellent all around.
Jodariel.
Glorious.
Glorious. Get Tizo in here.
Tizo.
Wait, no. Oh no, we have the bonus jump on Gilman. And I want Faye to keep leveling up. Put these 3.
Nay,
Nay, rather.
it is done.
Okay, I think I'm ready. Hear us, Islak. Bring to us thy terrible power.
Begin.
I'll just bump into all of you and you will all die.
Audacious, aren't we?
Oops. And then Jodariel will also die.
A second wind. A flame is stricken. No, you don't. Oh. 'Twas a crushing blow against their pyre. Your adversary's pyre now falls short of yours.
Ow.
Oh, you poor Nightwings. Udmilda casts herself into the pyre. Each pyre now burns no more brightly than the other. Such chaos.
It's out of the arena there. They can do the same thing. Okay, fair enough. The sacred texts. Even now, the ashes of our pyre mingle with his lifeblood. Prevail or no, ye shall not interfere with his return. You say so.
'Tis taken.
Whoa.
The witch Udmilda sets herself ablaze.
Did that to myself. To
You
actually
seem
play now.
unable to stop these people.
Seem unable to stop these people.
Goodbye, Joe Dariel. The orb engulfed in
Okay,
fire.
just one more.
Now go on, just once more. My. Thoroughly banished. And it is done.
GG.
The Nightwings prevail. They somehow managed to scrape by despite their adversaries' efforts.
Just barely on that one. Closest we come to losing yet.
This night's proceedings.
Islak savors defeat. Thine, ours, he cares not. Ye shall see.
There is much to learn from this experience.
Rank up for Joe D'Ariel. Turn nonsense, all of this, that we have come this far. Fortune alone cannot be the cause. Gain 35 health on the Pyre, or adversaries banished by Jody take longer than usual to return. Ooh, that's pretty good, too. Greater banishment seems useful. With her decent speed and gigantic aura, she can really catch enemies quite easily.
It seems.
And Nay ranked up. Jump and power jump further.
The imp Tizo appears to have a certain depth.
Tizo just had a flash of inspiration. Let's get the bigger explosion.
Until the next right.
I had a pizza that has no cheese. I don't think so. I've had pizzas without tomato sauce. I don't think I've ever had a cheeseless pizza. I've had pizzas with different kinds of cheeses. Really like feta cheese on pizza. But no cheese? I don't think I would consider that a pizza. The Daddy. Thanks for the full year. Thank you, Daddy. Back at the wagon, after defeating the Withdrawn in a last-ditch effort, you are able to recover for a time, though you have another task this night. Tomato pie, yeah. Come again to seek out where the ritual shall take ye next. Face the chastity again. Mr. Tinderstoff. Temitha again. The accusers. Let's kick the accusers' butt. These guys are stupid. Your next adversaries are to be the accusers, led by the one called Lendl, whom I believe you first met many moons ago. His is a tale I hope shall be forgotten. He then tells you what he knows of your next adversary. Lendl the Liar, the first adversary you confronted in the rites not long after you took your first steps on the path to freedom. A former constable of the Commonwealth, he gained a reputation for a strict and brutal manner. By any means, he always caught the crook. Once he arrested a civilian who hated him on suspicion of theft of Commonwealth artifacts that had gone missing. Lendl discovered the artifacts himself in the civilian's home. The suspect soon was exiled. Still, he denied the charges even as they cast him downriver. The case was investigated further, though too late. Suspicions turned to Lendl. It turned out he planted the damning evidence himself, so he was exiled in turn. In the downside, he soon became acquainted with the rites, having heard all of this from several people in high places. He asserted himself as the de facto leader of the accusers. They bent to his aggressive nature and prevailed many times under his watch. Yet each time his chance at liberty arose, the Nightwings either defeated him or simply did not show. At any rate, Lendl shall be looking forward to our arrival, I expect. We may resume our journey come daybreak, but in the meantime, I would advise taking what rest you can. At dawn, we'll take flight again. The Withdrawn. In the words of Haub the Swallow, the Accursed. The Withdrawn did spawn forth from the wild witch Milithy, in whose vigilant pursuit of the unknown and the unknowable I always felt a certain kinship. Whether the Withdrawn were Milithy's kin by blood or merely worshippers, we trusted one another not to ask or care. What mattered was that Milithy chose the most audacious minds, who stopped at nothing short of the impossible. Though ever distant, the Withdrawn revealed to us such truths about the land which long lay hidden, even to one such as I. Their knowledge ever waking into newfound depths of consciousness, they led us all to better know ourselves. Nay seems to be in a happy mood, though she always seems to be around Jodariel, who is listening to her with patience. So I would just look within the cello caps each daybreak for the morning dew to drink, and once in a while, I would maybe find a stream to drink from too. Though I'd get very thirsty sometimes too. I tried drinking tree sap once. It wasn't very good. It was really bad, I guess. She seems to be discussing how exactly she survived in the downside all alone for so long. Jodariel watches her intently. Food was harder to find because, this is a bit embarrassing, but I tried never to harm a living thing, you know, because it makes me very sad. But sometimes it is the way of things, I understand, I do. And so I would eat as often as I needed to, and tried a lot of different things to see if they were good. Most of them weren't, though. But I got by. I learned to get by. I already knew how, a little bit, because back home where I came from, there I had to get by too. Here, well, it was harder, but it wasn't that much harder, really. Jodariel remains silent for some time as Nay trails off. Then she embraces Nay and holds her there gently. Nay lets out a breath and says nothing either for a while. Nay, may I ask a question of you? Me? Of course. How old are you? Do you know? Oh, I am 19 years old. That is how old I am, I think. Truly, then you have seen a lot in not a lot of time. Know that what you have achieved is a feat. I have known seasoned soldiers who could not have lived through the experiences you described. Oh, really? Wow. Thank you very much. You've seldom seen Nay look so joyful as this moment. As for Jodariel, you could count on one hand the number of times you have seen a smile play across her lips. You leave them to their conversation. Nope. Let's continue our journey. Something about the strange island you see below draws your attention. Best to avert your gaze from the Isle of Kalimur. Even the scribes themselves thought to avoid the place. Let us fly on. Interesting. Place we've never been. The others are hanging out here. Why can't I hang out here? Oi, what the bloody blazes? Orker notices your wagon at his flank there and begins to laugh. Well, if it isn't the Nightwings flaunting their fancy little wagon, eh? You think you're better than us, mates? Pah, you ain't better than the dung I stepped in last night. Now get on out of here. I've a mind to leap over there and rip your gizzards out, you know? Face you soon enough, buddy. It's landing time. The spring of Jomur has always flown forth from the crushed carapace of Biolanthius, the Hive Titan. From its remains flows a rejuvenating spring, which gladdens up that valley's desolation. The legend of whose demise is a rather sordid tale. Perhaps you have read it in the book. Not all believe the book exists, of course, nor the greater titans, nor the rites. I have encountered exiles believing that this titan perished quite by accident, rather than by a cunning trap laid for it by Jomur and Manymane. They took the titan for a common beast. Perhaps the stars shine down upon out-of-the-way locales as this one, to ensure that they alone shall witness the proceedings. Something of value, huh? You touch down in the heart of Jomur Valley, where first we face the Fate and the Dissidents. We briefly wonder where they might be now and how they fare. We now have a little time before having to set forth. The Beyonder Crystal seeks nay. Alright. How's it going, Goat Punch? I am enjoying this game. It's definitely unique, but I really like the world building and the writing a lot. In the words of Molten Millithy, the Wild Witch, the downside prairie first appears serene. It is not. The soil there accommodates only the region's brutish native vines and overbrush. The most likely food sources prove poisonous. Thus we journeyed further north. The climate there grows fouler to my senses, though the Cur Jomur found it amenable. The sprawling valley, pocked with long evaporated lakes, gives evidence to the monstrosities which roamed this land. We found the region's western edge to be more pleasant on the whole. Therein we found sources of fresh water, whereas over to the east we found the edge of the land's most hideous decay. I don't know if this whole playthrough is going to end up on my dedicated YouTube's, the Baylord Plays channel, but it will end up as a collection on Twitch, so that the VODs are available in perpetuity on Twitch, as well as on the Archives YouTube channel, which has my full stream uploads without any editing. So it'll be available in perpetuity in at least those two ways, Twitch collection and YouTube archive, ! Archives for the link to the other YouTube channel. Those are your two ways to watch it.
Instrusantis.
What's up, Sandra?
Semvare ligera.
You know, my lovely reader, I must admit I did not expect your little followers to be quite so receptive to instruction as they have thus far proved. I know not whether they owe it all to you, or if somewhat more to them than I was first inclined to think. In any case, I am pleased that they are not entirely disgraceful. I like to keep my expectations well in check, seeing as I have been thus expelled until the end of time, so it is pleasant when those expectations are exceeded every now and then, although I cannot quite recall when last that was. But the best part of all this are these brief times in which you visit me in my domain. I know you cannot for long. This damned crystal in which I am enthralled shall see to that. Though, as you have perhaps surmised, whenever it decides that one of your little friends is worthwhile enough, why, I can offer them a trial, and likewise I can offer you a chat. Sometimes I think, as you achieve those trials of mine, perhaps it does something to trim the length of my eternal banishment. Eternity being what it is, however, perhaps not. Still, if the trophies of those blasted scribes are worth something to you, then all you need is but to brave my trials and they can be yours. Then something changes in her. I've likely said too much. I aim not to influence you in your use of the Beyonder Crystal. It is not there to be tampered with by anyone, including me. Forget what I said. TSNV, thank you for the Tier 1 sub. Welcome to the Cozy Sub Club. Summon Nay. I must
I
admit, I do sense something from that one. I once had a wild heart myself, quite like her own. We shall see if there is more to her than that. Let us bring her forth. Soon Nay arrives. I think that if I listen carefully, I can hear the scribes calling out to me. He says. Listen well, girl. The place you reside at present has one single rule, which is you answer to me here. Wow, okay, I will. It's naive enthusiasm. Now be silent. It is plain to me that you have much to learn as yet about the rites, but you have learned something, and I would see you prove it. Okay. Are you out there to help me with this, mister? I am. Triple imp threat. Uh-oh. Bad. More. Hopefully she's got good hope. Yeah, there's only two of them. Not sure how I banished that in. Be it just self-destructed. Oops. It's like a cast into it. It's weird. My Pyre. My Pyre again. Why do I never throw the orb into the Pyre? Because I suck at it. What? Stop. Ugh. It's getting annoying. What? Yeah, they're very fast. And they have a slightly larger ore than me, which is really annoying. So I can't pick up the orb. Dunked over and over again, no? GG. Sandro wins. Sounds like we need a different trinket. And I need a bathroom break before we try this again. Twitch chat. I'll be right back. All right, Twitch chat, we're back. Thank you for hanging out. Let's give that another go. The Moon Touch Girl is not fully competent. I think we all knew that. We can do better. Although, can I swap my trinket? Maybe not. Thankfully, Sandra is very patient. Easy peasy. Okay, how did I do? How did I do? I must admit you did better than I had expected, girl. You have passed this trial. Some congratulations are in order. Now, farewell. Did I imagine all of that, mister? Because I hope I didn't. Wow, what is that you have there? Calamer's anklet. Nay's aura cast can bounce. Cool. How nice. Let's explore Fall Flat. Something about the rocky pathways of Fall Flat gives Sir Gilman a strong intuition to explore the area. Together we set out to take a look. Mayhaps this knight could escort you, Master Reader. There seems to be nothing in particular in the vicinity, but then Sir Gilman raises his voice. Halt! This knight's keen eye has located something. The object in question is lodged deep in the ground and bears the mark of the rites. Attempt to open it. You may be better off pursuing your vocations than some unyielding container. You know, vocations do sound good. Let's vocate. The remaining hours of the day are better spent on things other than tampering with long-forgotten lockboxes. Let's vocalize. What's going on here? Jody. Jodariel seems to be fidgeting with her horns. Blast these wretched things, reader. Have you any inkling as to how unwieldy they become with age? I long for the days when the wound in my leg was chief amongst my bodily concerns. They do look good on you. You express regret her horns yet cause her discomfort, though note that you think they look very good on her for whatever consolation that provides. It's as fortunate that my perpetual discomfort is of benefit to you. 10 years or so into my stay within this blasted place, I first felt protrusions from my skull. They remained hidden by my hair for quite some time, but I knew that would not last. We all heard much of demons in the Commonwealth. Sinners, rightfully exiled, would assume their rightful form. Thus, when my horns started to sprout, I took it as an indication that perhaps this was indeed the fate I had deserved. He trails off for a while. I know somewhat better now. Anybody of our kind left down here long enough and left alive becomes like this. Something in the climate? Difficult to say. A disease of sorts, but not a deadly one. If anything, the opposite. If we live long enough, then we live longer still, like this, extending thus our sentence into exile. Sometimes I think, if these horns are to symbolize my sins, then surely they are going to recede, if ever I return. On nights when these damned horns prevent my sleep, my thoughts invariably stray to that hopeless idea. A naive hope which never leaves, despite prolonged attempts to rid myself of it. Horns are not worth the trouble, reader. She nods wryly as she heads out into the afternoon. Time for studying! Let's take hope, since we have yet to unlock glory. You concentrate on the substance of the words and teachings of the Book of Rite. Inspiration comes in a flash. To the spring. Didn't make it very far. The wagon comes to a sudden halt. That does it, I'm leaving. cause of Jodariel's outburst soon becomes apparent. Well, reader darling, at least some of us know how to take a joke, wouldn't you say? Look, she was reminiscing once again about her soldier days, and I just happened to point out, I may have suggested the fiery destruction of the Spiral Sanctum happened on her former unit's watch. I mean, didn't it? Not that she would have made much of a difference had she been there herself. She ought to thank the saints she was spared by her exile here. I thought she held no love for your Commonwealth. I shall never understand what it is your people saw in that dreadful place, but I guess I hit a sore spot. I should probably apologize. He swoops off. There's no sign of either of them. You organize a search. Proves fruitless, but then Jodariel returns, alone, as if nothing happened. She's back to her calm self. Let us continue. I regret the interruption. Pamitha soon comes back as well. Don't you worry, darling. I've definitely patched things up between us. Honest. At least, I think perhaps I didn't make things worse. Returns to her business in the wagon. You make ready to resume your travels, but make a note to follow up with them. You find Pamitha in the midst of a heated conversation. All I'm saying is we're limiting not only our own chances individually, but all your friends' chances as well. Jodariel seems to be considering whatever it is that Pamitha proposed. Reader, the harp here is suggesting that perhaps it would be best if I were to form an alliance with the ones whom I fought for the better part of my life. Just with me, Jodariel. I cannot vouch for anyone else. Oh, utterly absurd. If we were in the Commonwealth, I would have not have stayed my hand against her. That I can say for certain. However, as Hedwyn would say, what happened back there, perhaps none of that matters anymore, and what matters more is what we do from here. That is to say, I am willing to give it a shot. You mean you'd be willing to conduct the rites with me? Yes. Excellent. I knew you would come around. Thought she'd never come around. I'm grateful for your open-mindedness. No need to let old enmities between our ancestors ruin things between us, or the others in our little party, for that matter. After all, do not push it with me, Harp. We shall see if the reader here is thus inclined to pair us in the coming rites. I am willing to defer to him. Anyway, you see, I think I managed to make amends there. Doubtless we'll get on swimmingly in no time. Excellent. Hope for the best. We'll have to deploy them together in this next rite, then. First reading. Freedom Pact. In the words of Gol Golathanian, the Master General. We rid the land of an impending doom, but faced another of its kind, for we knew that we were trapped. Yet for each danger which we faced, for every failed ambush by Arch, we met with gentle souls and kindred spirits in the downside, who deserved more than to fade from memory within this land. It was then the stars themselves showed us the way, delineating a great voyage across the sea. Near broken we became, but then at last a moonlit vision, that of the rites. The rites! Sports! Thus shall they say of us, the 8 scribes gave their freedom, so that we could play sports. Spirit of Jumwer. I oftentimes think that the carapace of the hive titan Biolanthius shall be an everlasting blemish on an almost splendid bit of land. But Jomor, in his brashness, felled the monster with a certain flair. Then the moon shone through the ridges of the massive carapace and shined upon the pooling ichor, turning it into the freshest nectar ever to be tasted. The spring shall flow eternally, and those who walk within it shall experience the resplendent glory of the land. The stars began to fall there in the spring with regularity, and we now know how soon again they shall do so, and we wish for you to see it for yourself. Oh, hey, guys. Look, I got something here which I think maybe you'd like. He shows you several multicolored liquids. Consumables. Yeah, they taste pretty good, I guess, and they can give you just the little lift you need, you know what I mean? You get thirsty for them, don't worry, I can even get more soon. Good. Good for you. Kind of expensive, though, for a one-time bonus. Didn't see nothing you like this time, huh? No, I did not. You didn't have the right stuff. Here among the stark badlands of the spring of Jamur, you await the signal of the stars. There is no sign yet of your expected adversaries, the accusers. Then the imp Tizo flutters up. Tizo cautions you he has some history with Lendl. Tizo seems to be indicating that Lendl has a personal vendetta against him. Before he can explain anything further, the stars begin to call. Something else catches your notice in the sky. Strange new stars shimmering about the ones you recognize.
Cabezuz,
The Greater Titans have returned? Excuse me?
sum corevara.
Some of them, and merely in spirit, not in form. But those dark signs are a portentous sign. Though they may light your way, beware the path which they illuminate, reader. Henceforth, you may invite the influence of the Titan stars. Use the Titan stars for greater challenge. Look upon them without fear.
Behold, the Titan stars.
Ah, buff my adversaries. Call upon the Titan stars to rank up faster. Let's see.
Limbless Erzek.
Let's make them return a bit faster.
The Titan stars. Burning remnants of monstrosities felled by the scribes themselves. Dare you to stand against them in their fury? Dark is the knowledge that you seek there, reader. Best focus on your adversaries, keen as they are to confront you once again. Put out their pyre first, and show them the glory of the Night Wings. Now then, make ready for the rite!
Right. Your companions are assembled and ready for the rites to commence. However, there is still no sign of your adversaries, the accusers. Tizo screeches you to stay alert. But then, someone leaps forth from the shadows. Ha! Caught you out, miserable beast. I knew it. After all this time, I knew that you were still among their ranks. Tizo was angry to have stumbled into an apparent trap. Silence, fiend, you robbed me of my freedom, my dignity. Your evil shall be ended here and now, and you, Nightwing, shall not deny me thus again. Come then, my accusers, for we face none other than the spawn of the accursed imp, Haub the Swallow. Let us show him now that he is a disgrace. The spawn of Haub. Tizo whistles something angry back at him. Whatever transpired between him and Lendl in the past, Lendl has not let it go. Oh, and they get more Pyre
The
strength.
rite shall begin forthwith. Jodariel.
Get Amitha in here.
Pamatha.
Exalias.
Seems fitting that Tizo would be here too.
Tizo. The choice is cast.
Tizo hoped never to have to see Lendl again, but is prepared to face him. Nightwings, the wicked fiend you serve is an affront. He denied my rightful freedom in my moment of triumph. I shall never forgive him or any of you.
Commence.
So, oops.
The Night Wings assert themselves thusly.
Yeah, that's why I don't cast the stupid ball ever, also.
The orb.
We're invincible.
Simply abhorrent.
Fair enough.
Display.
Hold still, you misbegotten little pox. We're not finished with you yet. Tizo utters at Lendl a slew of the absolute worst in profanity. Your curses could not possibly affect me any further, you foul spawn, for you have taken everything from me already. But if I am to be trapped in this forsaken hole with you for the remainder of my days, then I shall see to it that yours shall be as doleful as mine own.
That Lendl certainly enjoys a rousing speech, though talk means nothing in the rights.
Yeah.
Somebody get the orb.
Somebody get the board. Hit it.
Pamatha has doused the flame. Spectacularly done. I wonder, shall the Nightwings press their luck? Tizo takes the plunge.
Jadariel can leap so far with this quickness trinket. That's ridiculous.
Your victory's at hand.
Oops.
Quite foul.
Also,
for the
oops.
Nightwings.
My bad.
'Tis what the scribes
I want my
ordered.
aura to be bigger than it is. Whatever, Jodariel's back. She'll just do it. What? How is that not a goal?
Poor Lendl. And it is done.
GG.
The Nightwings prevail again. A perfectly agreeable performance overall.
Good enough.
The right is ended.
Tizo is very pleased that you prevailed, but wishes to make a quick exit. Blast, where did he go? Where did he go? That infernal imp. It is a monster in disguise, a fiend. Come forth to torment me until the day I die. Lendl storms off in a fit of anger. Tizo reappears once the coast is clear and expresses his gratitude again. What Lendl said before, if Tizo is truly a descendant of Haub the Swallow, then he has quite the legacy to live up to.
The rights do tend to teach something of trust.
I get 3% more? What? That's pathetic. Titan Star's my butt.
The exiled Pamatha perhaps can learn the errors of her kind.
Well, Tamitha, soon I'll be catching up with you at this, whether or not you like it. Faster flying. He's already really good at that.
The holy power of the eldest matriarch. Until the stars align.
So how was that for you, Jody darling?
Sentana dira.
I suppose the outcome was acceptable. I'll take that as a compliment. And reader, thank you for your guidance as ever. Team up successful. Back at the wagon after thwarting the accuser's wrath soundly, you are about to join the others discussing the outcome when Volfred finds you. Good work back there, my boy. Though I'm afraid I must pull you away from any revelry, for there's something you should see. Please join me outside. Is it time already? Yes, the Golden Star is here. Indeed, somewhere deep in the infinite dark, a single star shines brighter than the rest. The path to freedom reveals itself once again. Tholium, a golden star. The rites are calling you again to the fall of Solium, where one among you may go free. It is as we discussed. The cycle of the rites is beginning to turn more quickly. Perhaps the scribes themselves have taken notice. Fortunately, having more frequent opportunities to free ourselves is not unwelcome to our plan. I suppose it's good for everyone, including the Essence, who will oppose us next. Getting to Mount Elodiel ought to be a little easier than before, at least. We should be able to make landing near to some of the old monuments to the scribes. We'll set forth at dawn. Soon, everyone is off to rest as best they are able, knowing that another chance at liberty for one of them shall soon present itself. Tizo has seemed somewhat less cheerful since his run-in with Lendl and the Accusers. He approaches you, waiting for you to hear him out. Tizo seems unhappy about something Lendl said. Tizo understands full well why Lendl is angry. While Tizo does not like Lendl as a person, he recognizes nonetheless that he is denied freedom. It was a liberation rite. He did what he felt necessary. He wanted to help his friend go free. Nonetheless, he feels a certain guilt and regrets that the rites force exiles into such situations. He falls silent for a while. Whether the 8 scribes ever intended for imps such as he to participate in the rites firsthand is difficult to know for certain. Then, Tizo is grateful to you for listening. He promises to keep doing his best to live up to the legacy of the scribes. He bounds up into the rafters with some of the other drive imps. Regardless of whether he truly is a descendant of Haub the Swallow, surely the scribes would be proud of him. Got some new pages. The Greater Titans. In the words of Under King Orez, the Sea Sojourner. Stars shine strange beneath the sea. This one dared rise from the waters so that he could see them plain, the burning essences of those who came before. Our lives are but a quest to join the stars. This one longed to be the brightest, but in the downside, this one met those whose own stars shall doubtless burn at least as hot. Together we achieved great deeds. You may have seen some evidence of it, the remains of the Greater Titans, which once darkened this dark land. But in our kinship was the strength to conquer them. It is this one's humble charge to chronicle those deeds, and may the Titan stars never stain the sky during your time. Limbless Erizek. If this one is to be honest, he nary expected his high-minded friend, Luce Glorian, ever to raise arms. And yet 'twas Sklorian alone who toppled the Root Titan, which befouled the scenery of Waking Wood. Sklorian, he brought to bear the might of his entire family of willful saps, contained within his ancient gnarled staff. Soon did the poisoned soil of Limbless Erizek begin to dissipate. The Root Titan cried out a deafening last cry, and withered to a speck. Erizek yet lives, a husk, a single foul seed still rotting where once something mighty stood. Sklorian in his mercy deigned that the surrounding woods ought to grow bold and strong by casting off the influence of Erizek, not by forgetting him. In the words of Haub the Swallow, the Accusers formed under Golathanian. He is a big man. He values justice, loyalty, steadfastness. Golathanian, he says the Accusers take their name from one of his most accomplished legions, from his former military days. All among them, in fact, served the Master General at one time. They represent the stoutest-hearted people of the Empire, who held true to Mur and Golathanian to the end. The golden colors of their raiments are reminiscent of their old shining armor, is his claim. Ever shall they seek out those with the truest spirits and the strongest sense of purpose to replenish their ranks. Neat. Alright, Twitch chat, I think, unfortunately, that is all the time I've got for today. This seems like an excellent place to stop, given that we're about to attempt to free our second member through another liberation rite. That's going to have to wait until next Saturday, though, when we next pick up Pyre. For now, dear Twitch chat, I've got to get going. Big thank you to everybody for tuning in, hanging out for some very cozy sports visual novel something or other. See you later, Virtual 256, at Tito, Highland Reigns, Mr. Zorag, Virtual 256. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so, so much for watching. Until next time, my friends, stay cozy and have a good one. Toodaloo, my friends, and good evening.